Welcome, my friends, to the podcast where we listen, we relax, and we get sleepy. Before we begin, let's take a moment to settle in. Find a comfortable position. Gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and a long, slow breath out. Tonight, we're leaving behind the world of notifications and deadlines. Our journey takes us to a small, quiet cottage, nestled deep in a time before clocks measured minutes with such urgency. The only schedule we'll be following is the gentle rhythm of a fading fire in the slow, silent fall of snow outside. The air here is thick with quiet, scented with wood smoke and centuries of peace. It's a place so profoundly calm, it feels like a secret the world has forgotten how to keep. So before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And I'd love to know where you're listening from tonight. Feel free to leave your city and the time in the comments below, creating a quiet connection with fellow listeners around the world. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. The journey begins not with a step, but with a stillness. You are here in a small timber-framed room, bathed in the last, generous glow of a dying fire. The world outside has long since fallen into the deep, velvet silence of a winter's night, but in here, there is a core of stubborn warmth. You are sitting on a simple wooden stool, close enough to the hearth to feel its radiant breath on your face and hand. The fire is no longer a roaring, dancing thing. It has lived its life for the day and is now settling into a peaceful old age. The logs, once solid and proud, have collapsed into a soft, glowing mound of embers. They pulse with a gentle, rhythmic light, like a sleeping heart. A deep, impossible orange, veined with incandescent reed. With every slow breath you take, you can almost see the colors shift and deepen, a slow-motion dance of heat and light, stretching across the rough-hewn wooden floorboards and climbing the walls like weary travelers seeking rest. They make the small room feel both infinite, intimate. You listen. The loudest sound is the quiet, contented crackle of the embers. It's a sound of pure comfort, a tiny, crisp sigh as a pocket of ancient sap finally lets go. Outside, a gentle wind whispers around the corners of the cottage, a low, mournful hum that only serves to amplify the profound safety you feel within these walls. It speaks of a vast, cold world. It makes the small bubble of warmth you occupy feel like the most precious treasure imaginable. Your gaze drifts from the fire to the room it illuminates. It is a space of profound simplicity. The walls are made of thick, dark wood, the beams above still holding the faint, pleasant scent of the forest they came from. You can see the marks of the adze, the tool that shaped them, and you run a hand over the sturdy table beside you, its surface worn smooth by generations of use. On it sits a simple pewter cup and a wooden bowl, empty and waiting. From the low rafters hang bunches of dried herbs, lavender and thyme and sage, their faint, dusty fragrance mingling with the scent of wood smoke. It's the perfume of home, of shelter, of life lived quietly, undeliberately. For centuries, the hearth was the absolute center of a home like this. It was more than just a source of heat. It was the kitchen, the lamp, the gathering place where stories were told and the day's small events were shared. Looking at this simple stone and clay fireplace, you can feel the echoes of that history. You can almost hear the soft murmur of voices from long ago. See the ghosts of hands held out to the warmth. There is a deep, unspoken history in the very soot that darkens the stones. You wonder, as philosophers have for ages, if a home is defined by its walls and roof, or by the feeling of absolute peace that can be found in a single, quiet moment like this. Is it the structure or the sanctuary it provides? Here in the gentle, fading light, the answer feels simple. Home is this feeling, this perfect, unassailable calm. You notice the way the light catches on the thick, uneven glass of the single window pane. It's not the perfectly clear, invisible glass of our world. It's full of ripples and bubbles, imperfections that bend the darkness outside into strange, soft shapes. You feel a gentle coolness radiating from it, a reminder of the winter that holds the world in its grip. Leaning just a little closer, you can feel the difference in temperature on your cheek, a clear line between the world of the hearth and the world of the snow. The embers pulse one last time, a final brilliant sigh of orange before beginning to shrink into themselves, cloaking their light under a soft blanket of gray ash. The room darkens, but your eyes have adjusted. The shadows merge and soften, and the details of the room recede, leaving only shapes and feelings. The feeling of the heavy wool blanket draped over your shoulders, the feeling of the solid floor beneath your feet, the sound of your own slow, steady breathing joining the gentle whisper of the wind. The journey has not yet taken you outside, not yet into the snow. It has brought you here first, to this place of absolute safety, to remind you what it feels like to be warm, to be sheltered, to be perfectly and completely at peace. The fire has done its work. It has warmed you, unlulled you. And now, as the last of its light fades, it is giving you permission to rest, to let go, and to let the quiet of the night carry you deeper into your own gentle dream, but not with any sense of urgency. It will be there in the morning, sleeping under its white blanket, ready for you when you are. For now there is only this warmth, this quiet. The night has passed like a deep, slow river, and you drift back to the surface of awareness gently, without a sound. It is not a noise that wakes you, but a change in the quality of the light. The deep, inky blackness of the cottage interior has softened to a bruised, gentle blue. It is the hour before dawn, a time of profound stillness, when the world seems to be holding its breath in anticipation of the sun. The air in the room is cold now, sharp and clean in your lungs, but you are cocooned in a nest of heavy wool and soft linen, a pocket of warmth preserved from the night's fire. You lie there for a moment, simply existing in this peaceful state, feeling the comforting weight of the blankets and listening to the absolute silence. Slowly, you push back the covers and the crisp air touches your skin. It's a gentle shock, but a pleasant one, waking your senses. You swing your legs out of the simple bed, your bare feet meeting the cold, smooth wood of the floor. You dress quietly in the half-light, pulling on thick woolen trousers and a heavy tunic, the familiar textures a comfort against your skin. The movements are slow, deliberate, a quiet ritual to begin the day. The house is still asleep, a silent, breathing thing around you. You pad into the main room. The hearth is a mound of pale gray ash with perhaps a single ruby red ember still glowing faintly at its very heart, a final, sleeping memory of last night's warmth. The air still holds that faint, lovely scent of wood smoke and dried herbs. Your gaze falls upon the table. There sits the remainder of a loaf of bread from yesterday's baking. It is a humble round loaf, its crust a deep, burnished brown, cracked and dusted with flour. This is where your morning's task begins. You take the loaf in your hands. It's cool to the touch, and you can feel its satisfying weight. On a wooden cutting board, you begin to break off small pieces. This is not an act of hunger or desperation. It is a quiet, mindful process. You are gathering not just food, but a feeling, a memory of warmth and sustenance. The breadcrumbs fall onto the board, a tiny, varied landscape. Some are soft and pale, torn from the loaf's airy interior. They feel slightly damp and springy between your fingers. Others are hard, sharp-edged fragments from the crust, carrying the dark, caramelized flavor of the bake. You scoop them all into the palm of your hand, a small precious mound. You can feel their different textures, a miniature world of sensation. And the smell. It's the honest, wonderful scent of baked wheat, nutty and slightly sweet. It is one of the oldest and most comforting smells known to humankind. For millennia, in places just like this, bread was not just food, it was the very symbol of life, the heart of the meal. In medieval times, not a distant story, but a cyclical, terrifying reality for many. The success or failure of a harvest could mean the difference between life and death. To have a loaf of bread like this, sturdy, nourishing, and made with good flour, was a profound blessing, a bulwark against the harshness of the world. Each crumb in your hand feels like a tiny testament to that security. You pour the collection of crumbs into the deep, woolen pocket of your coat. As your hand settles them into the bottom, you feel their gentle, insignificant weight. But it's a comforting weight. Your fingers brush against them as you close your hand inside the pocket. They feel like smooth, familiar stones, a small, secret hearth you can carry with you into the cold. You know that out in the forest, when your fingers grow numb, you will be able to dip your hand into this pocket, a small, tangible piece of home. There is a quiet science to a simple crust of bread, a gentle alchemy you can feel in your palm. That deep brown color and rich, nutty aroma of the crust comes from a process of transformation, where the heat of the oven encourages the sugars and proteins in the dough to dance together, creating hundreds of new flavorful compounds. It's a kind of magic, turning simple flour and water into something complex and deeply satisfying. The pale, soft interior, by contrast, is a land of steam and gentle cooking, which is why it retains its softness and a more subtle, milky scent. You are holding both worlds in your pocket, the fiery, transformed exterior and the soft, protected heart. You walk to the cottage door, your hand still deep in your pocket, curled around the crumbs. A traveler might leave a trail of breadcrumbs in a desperate attempt to find their way back. It's a strategy born of fear, a lifeline to the familiar. But as you stand here, on the threshold of the winter forest, you feel a different purpose. A scholar might wonder if a path is only for returning. What if leaving a trail isn't about marking the way home, but about honoring the journey forward? A quiet acknowledgement of where you began, a single, deliberate crumb placed at the start of a new path, not to be followed back, but to be remembered. A testament that says, I was here, I was warm, I was here, I was warm, I was safe, and now I am ready to see what lies ahead. The crumbs in your pocket are not a map for retreat. They are a promise, a tangible connection to this place of warmth and safety, a small measure of comfort to carry with you as you step out into the vast, quiet beauty of the unknown. You take a deep breath, the cold air filling your lungs, and you can still smell the faint, wheaten scent rising from your pocket. You are ready. The heavy wooden door groans softly as you pull it inward, a deep, sleepy sound that seems to belong to the quiet of the morning. For a moment, you are standing on the threshold, a bridge between two worlds. Behind you lies the familiar, shadowed warmth of a cottage. Before you stretches a world made new, transformed by a silent fall of snow overnight. It is an expanse of pure, untouched white. You take your first step out of the doorway and onto the small, covered porch. The air is immediately different. It's thin, crisp, and so cold it feels sharp and clean in your lungs. It carries no scent but its own purity, the smell of frozen water and clean earth. The world is hushed, muffled by the thick, soft blanket that has been laid over everything. The familiar sounds of the forest, the rustle of a leaf, the snap of a twig, are all gone, absorbed by the snow, almost a presence in itself. It's the kind of quiet that makes you feel like you are the only person awake in the entire world. Your gaze sweeps across the scene. The snow covers everything with a gentle, democratic equality. The wood pile is no longer a jumble of logs, but a soft, mounded shape. The fence posts were thick, white caps, and the sprawling branches of the old oak tree are heavy with it, their dark limbs outlined in brilliant white, like a charcoal drawing dusted with flour. The light is pale and indirect, a soft, pearlescent gray that seems to emanate from the snow itself, as if the ground were the source of its own gentle illumination. Now, for the moment you've been anticipating. You step off the porch. Your boot, warm from the cottage, sinks into the deep powder. And with that first step, a symphony of sensations begins. You hear it first, a soft, satisfying crunch. It is a unique sound and mixture of compression and whisper, the sound of a million tiny ice crystals shifting, unlocking together under the pressure of your weight. It is the only sound in the vast stillness, and it feels uniquely yours. Then you feel it. The snow gives way beneath your foot, a feeling of yielding, of soft resistance. It's not like stepping on solid ground. It's a slow, cushioned descent. The powder is so light and fresh that it billows up around your ankle, a cold, soft cloud. Through the thick leather of your boot, you can feel the intense, immediate cold of it. It's a clean, sharp cold that makes your skin tingle, a stark contrast to the lingering warmth from the cottage. You take in another, moving away from the cottage and into the open space. Each step is a deliberate act, a conscious engagement with this new landscape. Crunch, sink. The rhythm is slow and meditative. You look back at the cottage. Your footprints are the only marks in the pristine expanse, a dark, deliberate trail leading from the doorway. They look stark against the white, a clear and simple story of your journey so far. There's a curious satisfaction in this, in leaving a mark on a world that feels so clean and new. A gentle, temporary signature. You pause and crouch down, reaching out with a gloved hand to touch the surface of the snow. The wool of your glove meets the snow with a faint hissing sound. You scoop up a handful. It's incredibly light, almost weightless, like holding a cloud of cold dust. You bring it closer to your face. Each individual snowflake is a tiny, perfect miracle of geometry, but here, packed together, they form a substance that is both solid and ethereal. A scientist might explain that the texture and sound of snow change dramatically with temperature. The classic, satisfying crunch you hear happens when the temperature is just a few degrees below freezing. The pressure from your boot melts the sharp edges of the ice crystals just enough for them to refreeze and bond together, creating that signature sound. If it were much colder, the snow would be too dry and rigid to make that sound. It would simply squeak. If it were warmer, it would be too wet and heavy. But the snow, here and now, is perfect. It is the sound of ideal winter conditions. You let the snow fall from your glove, watching the tiny particles glitter as they drift down, catching the faint morning light. You are now fully immersed in this white kingdom. The cottage, with its warmth and shadows, feels like a distant memory, a different life. Out here, your senses are heightened, focused. You notice the way the light reflects off the snow, making the air itself seem to sparkle. You feel the cold on your cheeks, a healthy, invigorating sting. You hear the sound of your own breathing, a small, misty cloud forming in front of you with each exhale. You have stepped into a world that asks nothing of you but to be present. There are no paths to follow, no destinations to reach. The world has become a blank page, and you are free to walk across it in any direction you choose. The journey is not about getting somewhere, but about the feeling of each step, the soft resistance, the cold embrace around your ankles, the satisfying crunch that announces your presence in this silent, beautiful world. You pull your collar up, settle your hands in your pocket, one of them brushing against the comforting texture of the breadcrumbs, and you begin to walk, not toward anything in particular, but simply into the heart of the pure, white stillness. You leave the open clearing of the cottage behind, your path leading you toward the dark, solemn line of the forest edge. The transition is gradual. First, you pass a few solitary skeletal birch trees, their white bark almost camouflaged against the snow, their thin, weeping branches looking like delicate ink strokes against the pale sky. Then, the trees become denser, closer, and you find yourself standing at the entrance to the pine woods. It feels like stepping from a bright, open room into a quiet, shaded hall. The air changes immediately. The pale, open light of the clearing is replaced by a deep, blue-tinted twilight. The dense canopy of pine needles, heavy with snow, has caught most of the morning light, allowing only faint, diffused beams to filter through. The world beneath the trees is a place of soft shadows and profound quiet. The snow here is different too. It's not a deep, uniform blanket but a dappled tapestry, thinner where the branches have offered their protection. You take a step into this hushed world. The crunch of your footsteps is softer here, more muted, absorbed by the thick carpet of fallen pine needles that lies hidden beneath the snow. You are walking on years of the forest's own gentle decay, a soft, springy cushion that makes your steps feel lighter, more stealthy. And then the scent arrives. It's the first thing that truly defines this place. A deep, clean, and invigorating fragrance that fills your lungs with every breath. It is the scent of pine. It's not a single note, but a complex chord of smells. There is the sharp, resinous tang of sap, a smell that is both medicinal and sweet. It's the tree's lifeblood, its liquid defense, and you can see thick, amber-colored tears of it frozen on the bark of some of the larger trees. The smell of the bark and the ancient heartwood of the pines themselves. And finally, there is the damp, earthy fragrance of the forest floor, a rich, humous smell that speaks of life, decay, and regeneration. You walk deeper into the woods, the trees rising around you like the pillars of a vast, natural cathedral. They are immense, their straight, dark trunks soaring towards a sky you can no longer see. Your head tilts back instinctively, trying to follow their path upwards. Far above, you can see the branches' great, green arms laden with thick cushions of snow. Every so often, a gentle breeze, a mere sigh of air, will stir the high branches. A small cascade of snow will dislodge and drift silently down through the filtered light. It falls not as individual flakes, but as a fine, glittering powder, catching the stray sunbeams in a momentary, magical shower of diamonds. You pause your walking just to watch this happen, a silent, slow-motion spectacle that is over in a few seconds. The silence here is different from the silence of the open field. It is not an empty silence. It is a silence filled with a low, resonant hum. At first you can't place it. But as you stand perfectly still, you realize it is the sound of the wind. Not a blustering wind, but a deep, gentle breath moving through the millions of pine needles high above you. It's a sound that is less heard and more felt. A low, consistent shite that is the forest's own lullaby, of countless living things breathing together. Poets and travelers have often tried to capture the feeling of being in a great forest. Some call it peaceful, others intimidating. A quiet thinker might wonder if a place can be both at the same time. Does the forest's grandeur make you feel small in a frightening way, or does it make you feel part of something vast and eternal? Here, in this gentle, snow-dusted quiet, it feels like the latter. The scale of the trees doesn't diminish you, it envelops you, making the world of human concerns feel very small and very far away. You reach out and touch the bark of a huge Scots pine. It is rough and scaly at the base, deeply grooved with the map of its long life. The cold from the bark seeps through your glove, a connection to the tree's slow, deep existence. These trees are ancient. They have stood here through countless winters, silent witnesses to the changing seasons, the passing of animals, the slow turning of the years. There is a wisdom in their stillness. You notice the small details. A single perfect pinnacone, its woody scales slightly open, resting on a pillow of snow. The way the light catches on the sharp, green tips of a few needles where the snow has not yet settled. The rich, reddish-brown color of the fallen needles that poke through the thin layer of white at the base of a tree. This is a world of subtle colors, deep greens, rich browns, and the endless variations of white and gray and blue in the snow and shadows. You continue your walk, no destination in mind, simply moving through this space of scent and sound and shadow. The rhythmic whisper of the wind in the needles above, the soft crunch of your boots below. With every step, the clean, sharp scent of pine seems to wash over you, clearing your mind, simplifying your thoughts. You are just a quiet presence, moving through a quiet, ancient world. You are not lost. You are simply here, listening to the forest's slow song, breathing its pure. As you meander deeper into the heart of the pine forest, your senses attune to the gentle world around you. Your eyes begin to pick up on a new layer of detail. The pristine canvas of snow is not as blank as you first thought. It is a page, and written upon it, in a delicate, fleeting script, is the story of the forest's hidden life. You have stumbled upon a network of animal tracks. You stop, crouching down for a closer look. The first set of tracks you examine is a neat, deliberate line. 2 small prints, then a space, then 2 more, one slightly behind the other. They form a tidy, stitching pattern across the snow. You know these belong to a fox. You can imagine the creature, its fiery coat a brilliant slash of color against the white, moving with a silent, purposeful grace through the twilight of the woods. You can almost see its sharp, intelligent face, its breath fogging in the cold air as it pauses, one poor ease to listen. The tracks tell a story of careful navigation, of a creature completely at home in this environment. You let your gaze follow the fox trail as it weaves between the mighty tree trunks, disappears behind a snow-laden fern, and re-emerges on the other side. It's a secret map of the forest's comings and goings, a narrative written while you slept. A little further on, you find a different kind of story. Here, the snow is scuffed and disturbed. A flurry of tiny, frantic prints, like scattered grains of rice, tells of a small field mouse or a vole. The tracks are light, barely denting the surface of the snow. They dart from the base of one tree to a small, dark hole that disappears beneath the root system of another. You can see the faint, delicate line left by its tail dragging between the footprints, warm-blooded life scurrying for the safety of its burrow. A brief, vulnerable journey across the open snow. You are not a hunter. You look at these tracks not with an eye for prey, but with a gentle, scholarly curiosity. You are like a naturalist from a bygone era, perhaps a Gilbert White of Selborne, who found immense joy and wonder in documenting the quiet, everyday lives of the creatures in his parish. He knew that the smallest details often held the most profound beauty. To him, the flight of a bird or the burrow of a mouse was as worthy of study and admiration as any grand historical event. You share that feeling now. You stand up and continue your slow walk, your eyes now actively scanning the ground, reading the morning's news. You come across a broad, bounding trail, large, paired prints, with the smaller front feet landing behind the much larger hind feet. A rabbit. You can picture its powerful hind legs propelling it in great, soft leaps through the deep powder, its white winter coat a perfect camouflage. The trail leads to a thicket of brambles, where the snow is peppered with nibbled twigs and scattered bits of bark. A story of a morning meal. There is a strange intimacy in observing these tracks. You are seeing the evidence of lives that are running parallel to your own, usually invisible. The forest, which seemed so empty and silent just a short while ago, is now revealed to be humming with unseen activity. These creatures are the true inhabitants of this place. You are just a quiet visitor, privileged to be able to read the brief messages they have left behind. A philosopher might ask if a thing truly exists if it is not observed. These animals move through the world with a purpose and a presence all their own, whether a human is there to see them or not. Their lives have a meaning and a reality that is completely independent of our awareness. But in seeing their tracks, you are creating a connection, a bridge of understanding. You are acknowledging their existence, bearing witness to their quiet, resilient lives, to realize how much happens in the world unseen, unheard, unrecorded. Your eyes catch a flash of movement. You freeze. On a low-hanging pine bough, a small bird or robin lands with a flutter. Its breast is a startlingly bright splash of russet against the muted tones of the forest. It puffs up its feathers against the cold, becoming a perfect, tiny sphere of warmth. It cocks its head, its beady black eye seeming to look right at you for a heartbeat, and then it lets out a short, sharp trill, a single, clear note that cuts through the silence, a tiny jewel of music in the vast quiet. Then, as quickly as it came, it takes flight, leaving the bough trembling and shedding a light dusting of snow. You watch it go, a feeling of quiet joy filling you. You have not one of the track makers, a brief, shared moment of existence. You look down at the snow beneath the bough. There, impossibly delicate, are the tiny, star-like prints of the robin's feet, a fragile signature left by a fleeting moment of beauty. You continue your walk, feeling richer for the encounter, your mind filled with the images of these secret lives, their silent paths and sudden songs. The forest is no longer just a collection of trees, it is a community, and you are its quiet, respectful guest. As you wander on, the dense canopy of the pines begins to thin. The trees stand a little farther apart, and the deep, blue-tinted shade of the inner forest gradually gives way to a brighter, more open atmosphere. And then, something wonderful happens. Through a wide gap in the trees, a shaft of sunlight breaks through the gray overcast, and the world is instantly transformed. It is not the bright, harsh sunlight of summer. This is winter sun, a pale, gentle gold. It streams down at a low, oblique angle, as if it too is feeling the lazy, slow pace of the day. The beam of light is made visible by the countless tiny ice crystals and motes of dust suspended in the cold air, creating a tangible pillar of gold that stretches from the unseen sky down to the forest floor. It's the kind of light that painters like Caspar David Friedrich sought to capture. A light that feels both natural and divine, earthly and ethereal. You find yourself walking directly into this river of light. The effect is immediate and profound. The air around you, which was uniformly crisp and cold, now feels warmer on your face. It's a gentle, radiant warmth, not enough to feel like a soft caress on your child's skin. You stop and turn your face up towards it, closing your eyes for a moment. You can feel the pale gold on your eyelids, a delicate heat that seems to soak into you, chasing away the last vestiges of the morning's chill. It feels like a blessing. When you open your eyes again, the world revealed by this light is one of breathtaking detail. The snow, which had been a landscape of soft whites and blues, is now a glittering carpet of a million tiny diamonds. Each snowflake on the surface catches the light and refracts it, sending out microscopic glints of color. The whole ground seems to shimmer and sparkle with a slow, magical fire. It's almost a bright to look at directly, a dazzling, joyous spectacle. The light also reveals the intricate beauty of the trees. It catches on the fine, frozen hairs of a mossy branch, turning them into a filigree of silver. It illuminates a single, perfect icicle hanging from a twig, making it glow from within, a clear, solid shard of captured light. The dark, rough bark of the pines is now textured with highlights and deep shadows, its ruggedness made beautiful and dramatic. And the shadows. The shadows are the sun's silent partners in this artistry. Because the sun is so low in the sky, the shadows it casts are incredibly long and elegant. The slender trunk of a silver birch tree throws a shadow that stretches for what seems like 100 feet across the snow, a long, thin, impossibly straight line of deep indigo blue. The mighty pines create vast, complex patterns of darkness on the white ground, a filigree of branch and needle that shifts and sways with the slightest movement of the tree. Walking through this landscape is like walking through a living work of art, a constantly changing interplay of light and dark. You find a fallen log, its surface cleared of snow by the gentle angle of the sun. You brush off a small patch of frost and sit down, content to simply be a spectator in this quiet theater of light. You think about the ancient relationship between humans and the sun. In the long, dark, and often cold winters of the past, the sun was more than just a celestial body. It was a symbol of hope, of life, of the promise of spring's return. Its appearance on a winter's day was an event, a moment of communal joy and relief. A cold winter without much sun wasn't just depressing. It could be a real hardship, affecting health and spirits. This simple, pale sunlight you're enjoying now would have been seen as a precious gift. A thinker might contemplate the duality of light. Light reveals, it brings warmth and allows life to flourish, but it is the darkness of the shadow that gives form and definition to the world. Without the shadows, the glittering snow would just be a flat, white glare. Without the darkness, the beam of light would have no shape. They are not opposites, but partners. Each one gives the other its meaning. You cannot have the beauty of one without the presence of the other. A tiny movement catches your eye. A chickadee, small and brave, flits into the beam of sunlight. For a moment, its gray and white feathers are lit up, and it seems to puff up with the pleasure of the warmth. It pecks at something on the log near you, its movements quick and precise. Then, with a cheerful dee-dee-dee call, it flies off, its small body a dark speck moving out of the light and back into the cool shadows of the forest. You remain seated for a while longer, just watching. The sunbeam is not static. As the earth continues its slow, imperceptible turn, the light shifts. The long shadows pivot, New details are illuminated, and others fade back into shade. It's a slow, grand, and silent clock marking the passage of time in the most beautiful way imaginable. Finally, you stand up, feeling a renewed warmth in your limbs and a quiet joy in your heart. You brush the wood dust from your trousers, take one last look at the dazzling, sunlit snow, and continue your journey, carrying the feeling of that golden light with you. You leave the transient beauty of the sunbeam behind, moving once more into the cool, even light of the forest. The path, if it can be called that, continues to be of your own making, a wandering trail guided by curiosity rather than necessity. The air grows still again, the low hum of the wind in the pines fading into a profound silence. And then, you notice a change in the sky. Through the latticework of branches above, you can see that the pale gray overcast has thickened and darkened, sinking lower. The light takes on a flat, heavy quality, as if the world is being pressed under a sheet of gray linen. There is a sense of anticipation in the air, a feeling you've known since childhood. It is the feeling that precedes a snowfall. You stop walking and stand perfectly still, listening. The silence is now absolute. It's a unique kind of quiet, deeper than the silence of the night before. All the tiny, ambient sounds of the forest have ceased. The birds are quiet, hunkered down in the dense boughs. The squirrels are in their nests. It feels as if the entire world is holding its breath. And then you see it, the first snowflake. It doesn't fall so much as it materializes in the air before you. A single, tiny, white speck, drifting with an aimless, gentle grace. You watch it, mesmerized as it floats on an imperceptible current, turning slowly, an intricate, six-sided star making its solitary, silent journey from the clouds to the earth. It lands on the dark wool of your sleeve, and for a breathtaking second, you can see its perfect, crystalline structure before its delicate form melts into a tiny, dark spot of moisture. Then another appears, and another, and then 10, 20, 100. Within moments, the air is filled with a soft, silent, ceaseless cascade of white. It is not a blizzard. There is no wind to drive it, no fury in its descent. This is a gentle, placid snowfall, the kind that seems intent on quieting the world, on wrapping it in an even thicker blanket of peace. You stand in the middle of this quiet magic, your head tilted back, and let the snowflakes land on your face. They are so light you can barely feel them, just a fleeting, ghost-like touch of cold, a tiny, melting kiss on your cheeks and eyelashes. You watch them fall against the dark backdrop of the pine trunks. The sheer number of them is overwhelming, yet the effect is one of utter tranquility. They fall without a sound. This is one of the quietest phenomena in nature. Scientists who study acoustics have a term for this: acoustic attenuation. Freshly fallen snow is one of the most effective sound-absorbing materials found in the natural world. Its porous, fluffy structure is full of air pockets that trap sound waves, preventing them from reflecting. That's why an landscape under a heavy snowfall feels so profoundly muffled and still. The silence isn't just an absence of noise, it's an active presence created by the physical properties of the snow itself. You are standing inside a natural sound-promming chamber, and the effect on the soul is one of deep, deep calm. You begin to walk again, your steps now completely silent. The fresh layer of powder falling on the existing snow cushions your boots so perfectly that they make no sound at all. You feel like a ghost gliding through the woods. The only sound is the whisper of your own clothing and the soft, rhythmic puff of your own breath. The world has been reduced to a simple, moving image, The dark, vertical lines of the trees and the gentle, downward drift of the snow. It's a meditative, hypnotic sight. You think about the countless artists and poets who have tried to capture the essence of a snowfall. They speak of purity of cleansing, of the world being reborn under a fresh, white sheet. A philosopher might ponder the idea of a blank slate. Does the snow truly erase the world beneath it, or does it simply hide it, protecting it until the spring? It feels less like an erasure and more like a gentle act of preservation. The sleeping seeds, the hibernating animals, the dormant roots of the trees, all are being tucked in under this new, insulating layer, kept safe from the harshest cold. The falling snow plays tricks on your perception of distance. The trees closest to you are sharp and dark. A little further away, they appear as softer, gray silhouettes, their forms blurred by the curtain of falling flakes. And beyond that, the forest dissolves into a uniform, soft, gray nothingness. Your world has shrunk. It is no longer a vast, sprawling forest, but an intimate, mobile space that moves with you. It is just you. It is just you. The trees immediately around me. There is a great comfort in this shrinking of the world. It asks nothing of you, demands no attention to distant horizons. All that matters is this present moment, this gentle, quiet space you inhabit. You pull your hood up over your head, not because you are cold, but to enhance the feeling of being in your own small cocoon. The flakes gather on the wool, a delicate, white dusting. You walk on, your thoughts quiet, your mind as still and clear as the air around you. There is no past, no future, only the slow, rhythmic descent of the snow, the silent, steady heartbeat of the winter forest. You are completely immersed in the moment, a part of the quiet, a part of quiet, a particle in the gentle. The gentle, persistent snowfall continues its silent work, softening every edge and contour of the world. You've been walking for some time now, not with any destination in mind, but simply for the pleasure of movement, for the quiet rhythm of it. The landscape has become a beautiful monotony of white and gray and the dark, vertical strokes of the tree trunks. But then, you notice something different. There's a subtle break in the pattern. It is not a wide clearing or a dramatic change in the terrain. It is simply a path. A small, winding track, no wider than a deer trail, that curves away from your general direction and disappears into a thicker part of the woods. It is almost invisible, its presence given away only by a slight depression in the snow and the way the trees seem to part, almost respectfully, to let it through. It looks ancient, as if it were not made by human feet, but worn into the earth over centuries by the quiet passage of animals or the slow trickling of water. You stop. Your journey so far has been one of pure, trackless wandering. You have been making your own way, forging your own temporary trail in the snow. But this is a path. It's just a destination. It speaks of a history, of other journeys taken before yours. In the fairy tales of old, a path like this is often a thing of portent. It is the route that leads the hero or the victim to their fate. To follow it is to surrender your own free will and submit to the narrative that has been laid out for you. But you feel no sense of dread or foreboding. There is no sinister energy here, only a quiet invitation. The path does not seem to demand that you follow it. It simply presents itself as an option, a gentle question whispered in the silence of the woods. A historian might reflect on the nature of old paths. Before paved roads and precise maps, the world was crisscrossed by a network of these small, intimate trails. They were the veins and arteries of the land, connecting isolated cottages, hidden springs, and sacred groves. They were shaped by the landscape itself, following the path of least resistance, curving around ancient trees and impassable boulders. To walk such a path was to engage in a conversation with the land, to follow a logic written by topography and time. You are not lost. You know, in a general sense, the direction of the cottage. You could turn back now and retrace your steps, following the faint indentations you have left in the snow. But a gentle curiosity, a pull as soft and silent as the falling snow itself, urges you forward. What secrets does this little path hold? You make the decision without any real deliberation. It feels like the most natural thing in the world to do. You turn to your left and place your boot in the faint depression of the trail. The snow is slightly more compacted here, and your step feels a little more solid, a little more certain. You have left your own random wandering behind and have now joined a journey that is older than you are. The path immediately leads you into a part of the forest you haven't seen before. The tall, stately pines give way to a denser, more intimate woodland. Here, ancient oak trees, their gnarled branches reaching out like wizened arms, stand draped in snow and moss. Holly bushes, their leaves a deep, glossy green, provide a startling splash of color, each leaf carefully outlined with a delicate trim of white. The snow-dusted red berries look like tiny, bright jewels scattered in the foliage. The path winds and turns, forcing you to slow your pace. You cannot see more than a few feet ahead. Each bend in the trail is a small revelation, a new, perfectly composed scene of winter beauty. The world feels closer, more detailed. You notice the intricate patterns of lichen on a rock, a beautiful, gray-green filigree that speaks of clean air and slow, patient growth. You see a frozen waterfall, a small cascade of water that has been caught in the act of falling into a skull-baked, milky ice. There is a sense of being led, of being guided. You have given up the responsibility of navigation and have entrusted yourself to the wisdom of the path. This surrender is not a weakness, but a liberation. Your mind is freed from the task of choosing a direction and can now fully immerse itself in the experience of the journey itself. You are simply placing one foot in front of the other, an observer being taken on a quiet tour of the forest's secret corners. You wonder who made this path. Was it a woodcutter heading to a favorite copse? A wise woman gathering herbs? Or was it simply the deer whose delicate, cloven hooves have stamped it down over generations? Perhaps it was all of them. Perhaps it is a shared road, a testament to the many different lives that have moved through this forest. The snow continues to fall, a steady, soft curtain that enhances the feeling of intimacy and seclusion. The path ahead is a mystery, and the path behind is slowly being erased by the fresh flakes. You exist only in this moving present, this bubble of quiet discovery. You are not worried about where it leads. The journey itself, this slow, winding walk through a world of snow-dusted oak and bright holly, is its own reward. Feel the comforting weight of the breadcrumbs in your pocket and follow the gentle curve of the path around the next bend. You follow the winding, half-hidden path, surrendering to its gentle guidance. The world remains a soft, hushed composition of white snow and dark trees. The air is still, thick with the silence of the falling flakes and the clean, cold scent of winter. You have fallen into a comfortable, meditative rhythm. The soft placement of your boots, the quiet whisper of your woolen coat, the steady puff of your woolen coat. Your mind is calm, uncluttered, simply absorbing the quiet beauty around you. And then it happens. At first it is so faint you are not sure if you are imagining it. It is a change in the quality of the air, a new note in the simple, clean scent of the forest. You stop walking and stand perfectly still, lifting your head like a deer catching a scent on the wind. You take a slow, deliberate breath, drawing the air deep into your lungs, trying to isolate this new fragrance. There it is again, stronger this time. It is a scent that does not belong here. It is not the sharp, resinous smell of pine, nor the damp, earthy scent of the forest floor. It is warm. It is warm. It is warm. It is utterly, wonderfully out of place in this cold, sleeping world. It is the smell of spice, the warm, woody sweetness of cinnamon, the sharp, festive fragrance of clove, and underneath that, another layer of scent, a deep, dark sweetness like molasses or rich honey, and something else, something fiery and fragrant that tickles the back of your throat, ginger. It's the smell of baking. It is the complex, intoxicating, and deeply comforting aroma of gingerbread. You turn your head slowly, trying to pinpoint its source. The scent seems to drift on the still air, coming from somewhere ahead, further along the winding path. It's a ghost of a smell, appearing and disappearing with the subtle, imperceptible currents of the air. One moment it is there, a clear, delicious promise, and the next it is gone, leaving you wondering if it was just a phantom conjured by your imagination. A sensory historian might note that our sense of smell is the one most powerfully linked to memory and emotion. The olfactory bulb is directly connected to the limbic system, the part of the brain that governs emotional responses. That's why a certain smell can transport you back in time, evoking feelings and memories with an intensity that sight or sound cannot match. This scent of gingerbread is not just a smell, it is a feeling. It speaks of warmth, of comfort and care. It is the scent of pure, uncomplicated happiness. In a time of widespread scarcity, like the medieval period that loosely frames our story, spices like cinnamon, ginger, and cloves were incredibly precious. They were not common kitchen staples but rare, expensive luxuries imported from far-away lands. They were worth more than their weight in gold. To use them so generously, to send their fragrance wafting through a winter forest, would be an act of almost unbelievable extravagance. It would signify a place of immense wealth or immense magic. You feel a pull of curiosity that is now impossible to resist. This is no longer a gentle, aimless wander. You have a purpose, a destination. You must find the source of this incredible smell. You begin to walk again, your pace a little quicker now, your senses fully alert. Every few steps, you pause, lift your head, and breathe and recalibrate your direction, following the invisible thread of the aroma. The path seems to sense your newfound purpose. It straightens a little, leading you more directly through a grove of slumbering hazel trees, their thin skeletal branches creating a delicate, intricate web against the gray sky. The scent grows stronger, more consistent. It is no longer a fleeting ghost but a tangible presence in the air. You can start to distinguish the individual notes more clearly. Yes, that is definitely cinnamon, warm and sweet. And there is the unmistakable, slightly piquant aroma of freshly grated ginger. And now, you can smell the rich, caramelized scent of baking sugar, the smell that happens just as it begins to turn a deep, golden brown in the heat of an oven. The combination of the cold, clean air and this warm, sweet, spicy fragrance is intoxicating. It's a study in contrasts. The chill on your cheeks and the tip of your nose makes the warmth of the imagined kitchen even more appealing. The purity of the winter air makes the rich, complex aroma of the spices seem even more luxurious. You feel a sense of wonder, of childlike anticipation. What kind of place could possibly exist out here in the heart of this silent, snow-covered forest? What kind of person creates such a magnificent, fragrant welcome? All thoughts of the cottage, of your starting point, have faded away. Your entire world, your entire focus has narrowed down to this single, delightful quest to follow this enchanting, impossible scent to its source. The path curves one last time, around a large. The fragrance is suddenly overwhelming, thick and warm and delicious, as if you have just walked into the very cloud of its origin. You know you are close now. The scent of gingerbread is now so thick and potent, it feels like you could almost reach out and touch it. It hangs in the air, a warm, fragrant cloud that has completely displaced the cold, clean scent of the pine forest. You are standing at the final bend of the path, your heart filled with a quiet, joyful anticipation. You take a step forward, moving past the large, moss-covered boulder that blocked your view, and you see it. There, in a small circular clearing, nestled amongst the snow-laden pines, is a cottage. But it is unlike any cottage you have ever seen or imagined. And from its single window shines a light. The light is the first thing that truly captures your attention, even before you can process the impossible nature of the cottage itself. In the deepening twilight of the snowy afternoon, this light is a beacon. It is not the harsh, white light of a modern lamp, nor the flickering, unsteady light of a candle. It is a deep, warm, and utterly steady glow, the color of molten honey or a perfect, golden amber. It pours from a small, square window, spilling out onto the fresh snow, creating a soft, inviting pool of light that seems to push back against the surrounding glow. This light is the visual equivalent of the scent that lead you here. Its peaks of warmth, of safety, of a hearth burning brightly within. It is the most welcoming sight in the world. In folklore and stories from across the globe, a light in the darkness is a powerful and universal symbol. It represents hope, guidance, and refuge. For a weary traveler, lost in the wilderness, the sight of a distant light is the promise of salvation. A sign that they are not alone, but you feel the power of that symbolism resonate deep within you. It's a primal comfort. You stand at the edge of the clearing, partially hidden by the last of the trees, simply observing the scene for a moment. The falling snow, which has been your constant companion, drifts through the beam of light, and each snowflake is momentarily transformed. For a split second, each flake becomes a tiny, glittering spark of gold before it vanishes back into the gray air or settles on the illuminated patch of ground. It's a silent, mesmerizing dance of light and snow. The source of the light is clearly a fire, a robust and cheerful one. You can almost feel its heat from here, a phantom warmth reaching across the cold clearing. You can almost hear the contented crackle and pop of the logs in the fireplace. The steadiness of the glow suggests a well-tended fire, one that has been built with care and is meant to last through the long, dark evening. A quiet observer of human nature might reflect on our deep-seated attraction to fire. For hundreds of thousands of years, the control of fire was what separated humanity from the beasts. It provided warmth in the cold, light in the darkness, protection from predators, and the ability to cook food. Our ancestors would have huddled around the communal fire, finding in its glow not just physical comfort but social cohesion and a sense of security. This deep, instinctual connection has never left us. The sight of a fireplace or a campfire can evoke a profound sense of peace and well-being. The light from this window is tapping into that ancient, cellular memory. The clearing is perfectly still. There are no footprints in the snow leading to or from the cottage, save for the single track of the path you have followed. The world seems to have been created just for this moment, just for you. The cottage, the light, the falling snow. It all feels like a perfectly composed painting. And you are the sole viewer. You feel an irresistible pull to move closer, to step out of the shadows of the trees and into that welcoming pool of golden light. Your hesitation is not born of fear, but of reverence. It is a moment of such unexpected magic that you want to savor it, to commit every detail to memory before you move forward and change the composition of the scene. The deep, warm orange of the light, the dark, comforting shapes of the surrounding pines, the silent, ceaseless fall of the snow, delicious scent of ginger and spice that hangs in the air. Slowly, you take a step forward, leaving the cover of the trees. Your boot makes a soft crunch in the snow of the clearing. The sound seems amplified in the stillness. You are no longer just an observer. You are now part of the scene. You walk slowly towards the window, towards that beautiful, impossible light, drawn in by its promise of warmth and wonder. The glow gets brighter as you approach, the scent of gingerbread more intense. The path has led you here. You are about to discover what lies within this small, extraordinary pocket of light and sweetness, hidden away in the heart of the winter forest. You step into the pool of golden light that spills from the cottage window, and the warmth on your skin is no longer a phantom. It is real, a gentle, radiant heat that feels like a soft blanket settling over your shoulders, chasing away the last of the forest's chill. You are standing directly in front of the source of the light and the scent, and you can finally see the cottage in all its impossible, delicious detail. Your mind struggles to process what your eyes are seeing. The path, the scent, the light, it all lead to this. The walls of the cottage are not made of wood or stone. They are constructed from huge, flat slabs of gingerbread, perfectly baked to a deep, warm, golden brown. You reach out a gloved hand, hesitating for a moment before you allow your fingertips to touch the surface. The wall is still faintly warm, the heat from the hearth within seeping through the spiced bread. The texture is firm but slightly yielding, like a perfect biscuit. You can see the small, airy pockets in its structure, and the surface is slightly rough, sparkling with what looks like a dusting of crystallized sugar. It is undeniably, miraculously gingerbread. The walls are held together not with mortar, but with thick, glistening ropes of white royal icing, piped with a charming, slightly imperfect precision. The icing creates whimsical, scalloped patterns along the eaves of the roof and frames the single window and the door. Here and there, embedded in the icing like precious jewels, are colorful, translucent gumdrops, red, green, and yellow, glowing faintly in the ambient light from the window, like miniature stained rope. The roof is a marvel in itself. It's tiled with overlapping slabs of dark, rich chocolate, some of them showing a faint, whitish bloom, a testament to their high cocoa content. A light, fresh dusting of real snow has settled on top of the chocolate tiles, creating a beautiful contrast of dark brown and pure white, a perfect edible winter scene. The chimney, from which no smoke currently issues, is built from sticks of striped peppermint, their reading a dizzying, cheerful pattern. You walk slowly around the small structure, your boots making soft crunching sounds in the snow, your eyes taking in every fantastical detail. This is a place that should not exist. It defies all logic, all rules of construction and nature. And yet, here it is, solid and real and smelling absolutely divine. A culinary historian could tell you that gingerbread has a long and storied history in Europe. It wasn't always the soft, cake-like bread we know today. In medieval times, it was often a firm, crisp biscuit, made with honey and a wealth of spices. It was a durable food, a kind of sweet hardtack. that could be molded into elaborate shapes. Guilds of gingerbread makers were famous for creating intricate, edible art, often decorated with gold leaf, for fairs and religious festivals. These creations were not just food, they were symbols of celebration and prosperity. This cottage, in a way, is the ultimate expression of that tradition, a folk art masterpiece, built not to be looked at, but to be inhabited. You find yourself wondering about the architect of this place. What kind of person, what kind of being, would conceive of and build a house from cake and candy? It speaks of a mind that is not bound by practical concerns, a mind that operates on principles of joy, of whimsy, of pure, unadulterated delight. It's an act of such profound and playful creativity that it makes you smile. The creator of this house was not building a shelter, they were building a tangible dream. A gentle philosopher might muse on the nature of reality. Is something real only if it is permanent? This house is, by its very nature, ephemeral. A heavy rain would dissolve its sugary mortar. The summer sun would melt its chocolate roof. The forest animals, if they dared, could nibble it away to nothing. But does its impermanence make it any less real, any less wonderful, in this perfect, frozen moment? Perhaps its fleeting nature is beauty. It is a thing of beauty, not meant to last, but to be experienced. You complete your circuit of the cottage, arriving back at the front by the single, inviting window. You peer closer, trying to see inside, but the glass, which you now realize is a thin, clear sheet of spun sugar, is slightly opaque and dribbled, distorting the view. You can make out the warm, dancing shapes of a fire and the vague outline of a simple, rustic interior, but no more. The smell is intoxicating, a warm, spicy cloud that envelops you completely. It's a scent that bypasses the mind and speaks directly to a place of childhood wonder and simple, uncomplicated happiness. All your senses are engaged. The sight of the whimsical construction, the feel of the warm gingerbread wall, the imagined taste of the gumdrop jewels, and above all, this incredible, pervasive scent. You have been led by a thread of fragrance to a place where the world of dreams has bled into the fabric of reality. Standing here in the golden light, surrounded by the silent, falling snow, you feel a sense of profound peace and wonder. The forest, which was once your entire world, is now just the quiet, dark frame for this astonishing, edible masterpiece. You stand before the front of the gingerbread cottage, bathed in its warm, sweet-scented aura. Your journey through the silent, winter forest has led you to this incredible, edible threshold. The only thing left to do is to see what lies inside. Your eyes are drawn to the door. Like the walls, the door is made of a single, thick slab of gingerbread. But this slab is a darker, richer brown, almost the color of molasses. And it is studded with chunks of crystallized ginger that glitter in the light from the window, catching it like flecks of gold. The doorknob is a perfect, gleaming swirl of hardened toffee, smooth and amber-colored. But it's the door frame that holds your attention. It is constructed from long, twisted ropes of glossy black licorice. You reach out, your fingers tracing the smooth, waxy texture of the licorice. It is cool to the touch, a contrast to the warmth of the gingerbread wall. As you touch it, a new scent joins the symphony of spices, the faint, sweet, and slightly medicinal aroma of anise. It's a nostalgic scent, one that might remind you of childhood candies or old-fashioned apothecaries. It adds another layer of complexity and wonder to the experience. You place your hand on the toffee doorknob. It is perfectly smooth and solid, fitting comfortably in your palm. For a moment, you just stand there, your hand on the knob, feeling the weight of the moment. You are about to cross a boundary, to move from the world of the forest into the world of the cottage, from the known into the unknown. There is no fear, only a deep and abiding curiosity. You turn the knob. It moves with a surprising, satisfying smoothness. Then, gently you push. The door swings inward without a single sound. There is no creak of hinges, no groan of wood. It moves with a silent, effortless grace, as if it were weightless. It is the most gentle and welcoming of entrances. The moment the door opens, the sensory experience intensifies tenfold. The warmth, which you had only felt as a radiant glow on your face, now rushes out to greet you, a solid wave of comforting heat that envelops your entire body. It sinks deep into your woolen coat, into your very bones, chasing away the last lingering memory of the outdoor chill. And the smell, the glorious smell of gingerbread, cinnamon, and ginger is now so powerful, so concentrated, it's almost overwhelming. It is the very essence of warmth, spice, and home. You step across the threshold, moving from the soft blue-white light of the snowy clearing into the deep, golden-orange light of the cottage's interior. The door swings shut behind you with the same impossible, gentle silence, closing with a soft click as the latch settles. The world of the forest, of the snow, of the cold is now completely shut out. You are inside. The room is small and circular, the interior mirroring the simple shape of the exterior. The walls are the warm, brown, exposed gingerbread you saw from the outside, and the air is filled with a soft, dancing light. The source of it all is a magnificent fire burning cheerfully in a large, stone hearth that takes up a significant portion of the far wall. The hearth is the only part of the cottage that is not edible. It is made of smooth, gray river stones, mortared together with simple clay. The fire within is a joyful, vibrant thing, a tangle of orange and yellow flames that leap and dance around a stack of birch logs. The logs hiss and crackle, a sound that is instantly comforting, the lively, cheerful song that fills the small space. It is the source of the warmth, the light, and the incredible feeling of safety that permeates the room. You take a moment to look around, to let your eyes adjust to the warm light. The ceiling is low, supported by rafters made not of wood, but of enormous, twisted sticks of cinnamon bark. Fragrant dust, and their spicy scent is a constant, steady bass note in their room's olfactory symphony. The floor is made of simple, wide wooden planks worn smooth by time and swept clean. In the center of the room is a sturdy wooden ablement to small stools, their surfaces scrubbed to a pale bone white. There are charming hand-made touches everywhere. The curtains on the single window are made of simple, checked gingham, red and white. On a shelf above the hearths, it's a row of earthenware jars, corked and labeled in a neat, looping script: cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, ginger. There is a strange and beautiful cognitive dissonance to this place. The architecture is pure fantasy, a thing of impossible edible whimsy. But the feeling, the atmosphere, is one of profound, simple, rustic reality. It is the archetypal woodsman-esque cottage, the hermit's hut, the peasant's hovel, a place of simple, honest, hard-won comfort. It is both a dream and the most real place you have ever been. A student of psychology might call this a liminal space, a threshold between two different states of being. You have left the ordinary world behind and stepped into a place where the rules are different. It's a space of transition, of magic, of possibility. But far from being disorienting, it feels profoundly right. It feels like coming home to a place you have never been before. You stand just inside the door, dripping a small puddle of melted snow onto the wooden floor, feeling the warmth soak into you, listening to the happy crackle of the fire, and breathing in the almost impossibly beautiful scent of the room. You have arrived. The journey through the cold, silent forest has led you to its warm, beating, spice-scented hearth. You stand just inside the warm, fragrant cottage, a quiet guest in a place of impossible wonder. The gentle, silent click of the door closing behind you has sealed you into this pocket of warmth, a sanctuary from the winter world. Your body, still holding the deep chill of the forest, begins to thaw in the most pleasant way imaginable. The source of this profound comfort is the fire, and it draws you in. You walk slowly across the worn wooden floorboards, your boots making a soft, solid sound, and you come to stand before the hearth. The heat radiating from it is immense, a living presence in the room. It's a dry, clean heat that sinks deep into your muscles, unknotting tensions you didn't even know you had. You pull off your damp gloves and hold your hands out to the flames. The feeling is one of pure, primal relief. Your fingers, numb and stiff from the cold, begin to tingle as the feeling returns. The sensation starts as a faint prickling and then blossoms into a deep, satisfying ache of returning circulation. You watch as the skin of your hands, which was pale and waxy, slowly flushes with a healthy pink. The firelight flickers across your palms, highlighting the lines and creases, making your own hands seem both familiar and new. The fire itself is a captivating spectacle. It is not a sullen, smoky fire, but a bright, energetic one. The birch logs, with their papery, white bark, burn with a particular intensity, producing tall, bright yellow flames that dance and drift with joyous energy. They lick at the soot-blackened stones of the hearth, casting flickering, animated shadows that race across the gingerbread walls and the cinnamon stick rafters. The whole room seems to be alive, breathing in time with the fire's dance and the sound. It is a concert of comfort. There is the low, steady whoosh of the air being drawn up the chimney, the engine of the fire. Then there is the sharp, percussive crackle and pop as pockets of moisture and sap within the logs burst in the heat. It's a cheerful, domestic sound, the sound of a well-running household, of warmth being actively generated. Occasionally, a log will shift and settle in the grate with a soft, sighing thump, sending a shower of bright orange sparks spiraling up the chimney like a flurry of fireflies. You feel the need to get even closer. You sink down onto the braided rag rug that lies before the hearth. The rug is a collage of faded colors, blues, reds, and greens, all muted by time and wear. It is soft and thick under your knees, and from here, the warmth of the fire is even more intense, a full-body embrace. It's a heat that feels ancient and deeply reassuring. An anthropologist would tell you that for millennia, the hearth was the sacred center of the home. It was the place of transformation where raw food became cooked, where cold became warmth, where darkness became light. It was a domestic altar, a place where the family gathered not just for physical survival, but for social and spiritual nourishment. To be invited to someone's hearth was the ultimate sign of trust and hospitality. Sitting here, you feel the echo of that ancient tradition. This hearth is not just a heating appliance, it is the heart of the home, and it is offering you its unconditional welcome. The warmth begins to work its magic on your damp clothes. You can feel the moisture in your heavy woolen coat beginning to steam away. A faint, pleasant scent of wet wool rises to mix with the dominant aroma of gingerbread, adding another layer to the room's complex fragrance. The heat is so comforting, so deeply relaxing, that your body begins to feel heavy, your limbs loose and pliant. The tension in your neck and shoulders, a tension you've carried from the cold, simply melts away. Your gaze drifts from the fire to the stones that frame it. They are smooth and gray, warmed by the fire's constant heat. You place a hand on one of them. It's not hot enough to burn, but it holds a deep, penetrating warmth that feels wonderful against your palm. You can feel the solid, dependable reality of it, a comforting anchor of stone unearthed in this house of fantasy. You are being lulled into a state of profound peace. The combination of the intense, enveloping warmth, the mesmerizing dance of the flames, and the cheerful, crackling soundtrack of the fire is a powerful soporific. It's a sensory cocoon that quiets the mind and soothes the body. The journey through the cold forest, the discovery of the path, the magical appearance of the cottage, it all seems to have been leading to this single, perfect moment of rest. You could stay here for hours, just watching the flames, feeling the heat, listening to the fire's song. It is a state of being that requires nothing from you. No thought, no action, no action, no action, no decisions. Your eyelids begin to feel heavy. The world outside, with its falling snow on deep, silent woods, feels a million miles away. Here, in the golden, flickering light of the hearth, in the warm, safe embrace of the oven, you have found a perfect, timeless moment of peace. You are still kneeling on the warm rag rug before the fire, lost in a state of peaceful, heat-induced languor. The world has been reduced to the simple, perfect sensations of the crackling flames and the fragrant air. It is in this state of quiet reverie that you hear a soft sound from across the room. It is the gentle scrape of a stool on the wooden floor, and a voice, as warm and gentle as the firelight, says, "You must be chilled to the bone. Come." You turn, your movements slow and relaxed. Standing by the small table is an old woman. She is small and stooped, her back bent by age into a gentle curve. Her face is a wonderful, intricate map of wrinkles, a testament to a long life filled with smiles and contemplation. Her eyes, nested in those wrinkles, are a bright, intelligent blue, sparkling with a kindness that seems to radiate from her. Her hair is snow white, fine as spun silk, and gathered loosely at the nape of her neck. She is wearing a simple, homespun dress of dark blue wool and a clean, white apron. She is the very picture of a fairy tale grandmother, a figure of pure, uncomplicated goodness. She gestures to the other stool at the table, and you rise from the hearth, your limbs feeling heavy and loose. You walk to the table and sit down. The woman sits opposite you, a warm, gentle smile on her face. She does not ask who you are, or where you came from, or why you are here. Her presence is one of complete and serene acceptance. It is as if she has been expecting you all along. "A little something to warm you from the inside out," she says, and she pushes a small, earthenware mug across the table towards you. It is filled with a steaming, milky white liquid. The steam carries a new scent, one of warm milk and honey and a faint, floral hint of chamomile. You take the mug in your hands. It is warm and solid, a comforting weight. You take a sip. The liquid is sweet, creamy, and deeply soothing. It flows down your throat like a warm, silken ribbon, spreading its gentle heat through your chest. As you sip the warm drink, your eyes wander around the cottage from this new perspective. From here, you can see the window more clearly. It is, as you suspected, not made of glass. It is a single, large, translucent pane of hardened sugar syrup, the color of pale amber. It is this amber pane that gives the light from the fire. It's incredibly warm, golden hue as it shines out into the forest. But it is the windowsill that truly captures your attention. The sill itself is a thick, solid plank of what looks like white fudge. And sitting on it, like a row of small, decorative sculptures, are delicate, intricate patterns made of pure white icing. They are not the simple, rope-like icing that holds the walls together. This is fine, lacy work, like spun frost on a winter pane. There are snowflakes with impossibly intricate arms, delicate, swirling ferns, and tiny, frosted stars. It is the work of a masterful artistry. You look from the icing back to the old woman, who is watching you with a gentle, knowing smile. "Go on," she whispers, her voice a soft crackle like autumn leaves. "They're for guests." You are unsure what she means at first. Then you realize she is inviting you to eat the decoration. Hesitantly, you reach out towards the window. You choose a small, perfect snowflake. Your fingers touch it, and the icing is cool and slightly crisp. It breaks off with a delicate snap. You bring the small piece of frozen art to your lips. The moment it touches your tongue, it begins to dissolve. The sensation is one of pure, unadulterated sweetness. It's not a cloying or artificial sugariness, but a clean, bright, crystalline sweetness with a faint hint of vanilla and perhaps lemon, which gives it a clean finish. It melts away to nothing, a sweet, cool ghost of a flavor that leaves your mouth feeling refreshed. It is the taste of pure, simple delight. A food scientist might explain the unique properties of royal icing. It's a simple mixture of egg whites, powdered sugar, and an acid like lemon juice. The egg whites allow it to be whipped into a stable, pipeable form. Then when it dries, it becomes crisp and hard, preserving its shape. It's the perfect medium for creating delicate, edible sculptures like the one you just ate. It is structure and sweetness, art and food, all in one. You look back at the woman, a sense of wonder in your eyes. She simply nods, her smile widening. It is an act of such simple, profound generosity. In this place, beauty is not just for looking at. It is to be tasted, to be experienced, to be consumed. It is a part of the nourishment, as essential as the warmth from the fire or the drink in your mug. This single, small act, eating a piece of the house itself, changes your relationship to the space. You are no longer just a guest or an observer. You are a participant. You are taking a part of the house into yourself, literally incorporating. It's a form of communion, an intimate connection with this magical place. You settle back onto your stool, taking another slow sip of the warm, honeyed milk. The sweet, clean taste of the icing still lingers on your palate. The fire crackles merrily in the hearth. The kind old woman sits opposite you, her presence a silent, comforting reassurance. The world outside, with its cold and its shadows, has ceased to exist. Your reality has been completely contained within these warm, fragrant, and delicious walls, and you feel a sense of peace that is as sweet and profound as the taste of the sugar frost on your tongue. You finish the last sip of the warm, honeyed milk, and the gentle, soothing heat spreads through you, a perfect complement to the external warmth of the fire. The old woman watches you, her bright blue eyes full of a quiet, grandmotherly satisfaction. She takes your empty mug and sets it aside. "You have come a long way," she says, her voice soft. "The forest was cold today. But the heart of a house is not in its hearth, but in its pantry." Her question is not a command, but a gentle, intriguing invitation. You nod, and she rises slowly from her stool. You follow her as she moves towards a small, unassuming curtained doorway at the back of the cottage. a corner you hadn't noticed before. The curtain is made of the same simple red and white checked gingham as the one on the window. She pulls it aside, revealing a small, low-arched wooden door. She opens it, and immediately, a new wave of fragrance, even more intense and complex than the gingerbread scent of the main room, wafts out to greet you. She gestures for you to enter, and you duck your head to step inside. You find yourself in a small windowless storeroom, a pantry, lit by a single, fat tallow candle that sits on a shelf, its flame burning with a steady, soft yellow light. The room is cool, a noticeable drop in temperature from the fire-warmed main room, and it is this coolness that preserves the integrity of the room's incredible contents. This is the source, the epicenter of the cottage's magical aroma. The air is thick, almost heavy, with the scent of spices. It's a dry, warm, and profoundly complex fragrance that seems to coat your tongue and fill your sinuses. It is the smell of 1,000 trade journeys, of sun-drenched faraway lands, of history and wealth and flavor. The walls of the small room are lined with simple wooden shelves, and on them rests an astonishing collection. There are no sacks of flour or potatoes here. This is a treasury of spices. Your eyes are drawn first to the most prominent feature. Hanging from the low ceiling are thick, heavy bundles of cinnamon sticks. They are not the small, thin quills you might find in a modern shop. These are long, gnarled branches of cassia bark, rough and textured, their deep, reddish-brown color seeming to soak up the candlelight. Their warm, sweet, woody scent is the dominant note in the room. Beside them hang long, braided strings of star anise, their perfect, 8-pointed star shapes forming beautiful, repeating patterns. They give off a dark, sweet, licorice-like aroma that complements the cinnamon perfectly. You reach out and touch one of the hard, woody pods, feeling its perfect, geometric shape. On the shelves, in large, open-topped wooden bowls, are mounds of other spices. A heaping pile of cloves, their dark, nail-like shapes unmistakable, exude a powerful, pungent, almost medicinal sweetness. Next to them is a bowl of nutmeg, round and hard like wooden eggs, their surfaces dusty and fragrant. You can see a small, silver grater resting beside them, ready to release their warm, aromatic oils. There is a bowl of dried ginger root, the piece is gnarled and pale, looking like strange, miniature wooden sculptures. Their scent is sharp, fiery, and clean. And another bowl contains something you've only ever seen in small, precious jars. Whole cardamom pods, their green, papery husks protecting the tiny, black, intensely aromatic seeds within. Their scent is complex, a mixtures and smoke. A historian would know that this small room represents a fortune. In the 14th or 15th century, the spice trade was the engine of the global economy, akin to the oil trade today. Spices like these were controlled by powerful monopolies, transported thousands of miles over land and sea from the Spice Islands, India, and Sri Lanka. They were used not just for flavor, but as medicine, as preservatives, and as incense. To have such a variety stored so casually in a forest pantry would be unthinkable. It would be like finding a room piled high with gold bars. The old woman watches you as you take in the scene, a quiet pride in her eyes. A little warmth for the winter, she says simply, as if this extraordinary collection were the most normal thing in the world. She reaches into one of the bowls and picks up a single, perfect star anise. She holds it out to you in the palm of her wrinkled hand. A gift from the East, she says. It holds the warmth of a sun you have never seen. You take it from her, It is light and delicate, and as you hold it, its unique fragrance seems to intensify. You bring it to your nose and inhale deeply. The scent is powerful and evocative, a miniature journey in a single breath. A quiet philosopher might contemplate the nature of a spice. It is such a small, insignificant-looking thing, a piece of bark, a dried bud, a seed. Yet it contains a world of flavor and aroma. It is a concentrated piece of a specific place, a tangible memory of its native soil and sun. To taste a spice is to travel, to experience a piece of a distant land without ever leaving your home. You are standing in a library of flavors, a museum of scents. Each bowl, each bundle, each braided string is a story. A story of a plant, a place, a journey. The air itself is thick with these stories. It is a place of immense power, not a threatening power, but the quiet, life-affirming power of flavor, of warmth, of the things that make life rich and delicious. You look around the small, candle-lit room one last time, trying to commit every detail to memory. The rough texture of the cinnamon bark, the perfect geometry of the star anise, the deep, rich colors of the mounted spices. This is the secret heart of the gingerbread house, the wellspring of its magic. It is a room built not of gingerbread, but of the very soul of gingerbread itself. You step out of the cool, fragrant spice pantry back into the golden warmth of the main room. The old woman follows, pulling the gingham curtain back into place, and the small, magical world of the spice treasury is once again hidden away. The contrast is immediate. The air in the main room, which before had seemed so powerfully scented, now feels lighter, the gingerbread aromas softer and gentler after the intense concentration of the pantry. She gestures for you to sit again, not at the table this time, but on the large, comfortable rag rug before the hearth. You settle back down into the familiar comfort of the fire's radiant heat. The woman doesn't take the stool, but instead lowers herself down onto the floor with a surprising agility. Sitting cross-legged on the rug beside you, she is not a distant host but a companion, sharing the space with you as an equal. She picks up a long, smooth stick from the wood pile beside the hearth and begins to poke at the fire, not to stoke it into a frenzy, but to gently rearrange the glowing embers. Her movements are slow, deliberate, and full of a quiet, practiced skill. As she shifts the coals, a fresh flurry of bright orange sparks dances up the chimney, and a new, brilliant flame licks up from a log that had been quietly smoldering. For a long time, neither of you speaks. The only sounds are the happy, crackling song of the fire and the soft, rhythmic whisper of your own breathing. The silence is not awkward or empty. It is a comfortable, shared silence, the kind that exists between old friends. It is a silence that allows for rest, for contemplation, for simply being. Then, in a voice that is little more than a whisper, a voice that seems to become part of the fire's crackle, she begins to speak. The old ones say she begins, her eyes fixed on the dancing flames, that every spark that flies up the chimney is a soul returning to the stars, and that the North Star is not the brightest but the most stubborn. It stays put, so that all the lost travelers can find their way home. Her voice is a perfect storytelling voice. It is low, gentle, and full of a rich, musical cadence. She is not performing, she is simply sharing, letting the story unspool at its own natural pace. It is not a story of heroes and monsters, of conflict and adventure. It is a piece of folklore, a fragment of ancient, gentle wisdom, the kind of story that would be told on a long winter's night, just like this one. They say that the snow is the sky's way of being quiet, she continues, her gaze still lost in the fire. The world gets too loud, too full of noise and hurry. So the sky sends down a blanket to muffle the sounds, to make everyone stop and listen to the silence for a while. Each snowflake is a tiny, frozen hush. You are captivated not just by the words, but by the way she says them. Her story is weaving itself into the atmosphere of the room, becoming one with the warmth of the fire and the scent of the gingerbread. You are not just hearing a story, you are inside it. A scholar of oral traditions would recognize this as the purest form of storytelling. Before books were common, knowledge, history, and morality were passed down through generations in just this way. A story told by a human voice in a shared space has a power that a written text can never quite replicate. It is an intimate, living thing, shaped by the teller, the listener, and the moment itself. The pauses, the tone of voice, the shared gaze into the fire, all are part of the narrative. She tells you a story about the robins, how they got their red breasts by carrying a single drop of water to the thirsty souls in a fiery underworld, and a spark singed their feathers as a mark of their courage and compassion. She tells you about the ancient pines, how their needles whisper the secrets of the wind to anyone who is patient enough to listen. These are not stories that require you to think or to analyze. They are gentle, poetic images that you can simply let wash over you. They are like lullabies for the conscious mind, designed to soothe and to charm. They are full of a simple, profound reverence for the natural world, seeing magic and meaning in the smallest of things. A philosopher might ask what the purpose of such stories is. Are they meant to be believed as literal truth? Or is there value in the way they shape our perception of the world? These stories don't explain the world in a scientific sense. They imbue it with personality, with wonder, with a sense of friendly mystery. They invite you to see the world, not as a collection of objects and forces, but as a community of living, feeling beings. A robin is not just a bird, it is a tiny hero. The snow is not just frozen precipitation, it is a gift of quiet. The woman's voice never rises, never falters. It is a steady, gentle murmur, as comforting and constant as the fire itself. Her face, illuminated by the flickering light, is calm and serene. She is not just reciting stories she has learned. She is channeling a deep, ancient well of folk wisdom. You feel your own body relaxing even further. Your eyelids are heavy. The combination of the heat, the soft rug, the gentle voice, and the simple, beautiful stories is an irresistible invitation to rest. The stories create a safe and magical world in your mind, a place where everything is imbued with a gentle, benevolent spirit. It is the perfect landscape for a journey into sleep. You are warm, you are safe, and you are being lulled by the oldest and most comforting magic in the world, a story told by the fireside on a cold winter's night. The old woman's voice fades away as it began. The last of her stories dissolving into the soft crackle of the fire. The shared silence returns, but it is now filled with the lingering images of stubborn stars and courageous robins. She sets aside the poking stick and her gaze falls upon your coat, which is still steaming gently in the heat of the hearth. You follow her eyes and see it too, a small, triangular tear in the sleeve, likely snagged on a sharp branch during your walk through the denser part of the forest. "A wound from the woods," she says softly, a small knowing smile on her lips. Even a gentle journey can leave its mark. It must be mended. Before you can protest or say that it doesn't matter, she rises with that same surprising agility and pads over to a large, wooden chest in the corner of the room. She lifts the heavy lid and a faint, pleasant scent of cedar and dried lavender wafts out. She rummages inside for a moment before producing a small, woven basket. She brings it back to the fireside and settles down beside you once more. The basket is a treasure trove of sewing supplies. There are wooden spools of thread in earthy colors, deep greens, warm browns, and a simple, honest cream. There is a small, plumping cushion shaped like a tomato, bristling with needles of all sizes. A block of beeswax for strengthening the thread. A pair of small, sharp scissors shaped like a stork, its beak forming the blades. It is a simple, beautiful, and intensely practical collection of tools. Take off your coat, she says gently. Let it feel the full warmth of the fire. You shrug off the heavy woolen garment. The immediate loss of its weight is a relief, and the fire's heat on your tunic-clad shoulders is even more intense and wonderful. You hand the coat to her. She takes it with a reverence that surprises you, laying it across her lap as if it were a precious thing. She selects a spool of dark green thread, the color of a pine needle. She breaks off a length, pulls it through the beeswax, and threads a needle with a single, practiced movement, her old eyes unerring. Then she begins to sew. You watch, mesmerized by the simple rhythmic process. Her hands, though wrinkled and age-spotted, are steady and sure. The needle dips into the thick wool, disappears for a moment, and then reappears on the other side, pulling the thread taut behind it. Each stitch is small, neat, and perfectly even. She is not just closing a tear, she is weaving the fabric back together, her needle a tiny shuttle creating a new, strong seam. The only sound is the faint hiss of the thread pulling through the wool, a quiet, domestic counterpoint to the fire's crackle. It is a profoundly peaceful and meditative act to witness. In a world of speed and dipso's ability, the simple act of mending something by hand feels revolutionary. It is an act of care, of conservation, of valuing an object enough to give it your time and attention. A historian of domestic life would know that for centuries, skills like this were not a hobby but an absolute necessity. Fabric was expensive and labor-intensive to produce. A good woolen coat like yours would have been a significant investment, a piece of equipment to be cared for and passed down. Mending was not a chore. It was a fundamental part of a household's economy, a constant battle against the forces of entropy. To mend something was to extend its life, to honor the resources and labor that went into its creation. As you watch her work, you are not just seeing a tear being repaired. You are witnessing an act of quiet love. She is tending to your well-being, caring for your comfort and protection in the most practical way imaginable. The needle rises and falls, rises and falls, rises and falls, a slow, steady rhythm that is incredibly soothing. The firelight glints off the needle's polished steel as it moves. A philosopher might contemplate the Japanese concept of kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. The philosophy behind it is that an object's history of damage and repair is part of its beauty, not something to its resilience, making it more beautiful and more valuable than it was before it was broken. In a way, the old woman is performing a kind of humble, woolen kintsugi on your coat. The small, neat line of dark green stitches will not be invisible. It will be a small scar, a memory of the journey, a mark of the care you received in this magical place. She finishes the last stitch, knots the thread, and snips it with the stork-like scissors. She runs her finger over the repaired section, her touch gentle and approving. Then she hands the coat back to you. You take it. The wool is now completely dry and infused with the warmth of the fire. You run your own fingers over the line of stitches. They are smooth and strong, the tear completely gone, replaced by this neat, dark green seam. The coat feels more whole, more yours than it did before. You put it back on. It settles on your shoulders like a warm, familiar hug. You feel cared for, protected, and a little bit stronger. It was just a small tear, an insignificant bit of damage, but the simple, quiet act of mending it has filled you with a profound sense of peace and gratitude. You look at the old woman, but words feel inadequate. You simply nod, and she nods back, her eyes sparkling in the firelight. The act of care is complete. The mended coat sits warm and heavy on your shoulders, a tangible symbol of the care you've received. The fire continues its cheerful song, and a comfortable, peaceful quiet settles over the room once more. The old woman seems to sense a shift in the energy, a quiet readiness for the next gentle activity. She rises from the hearthrug and gestures towards the scrubbed clean wooden table. The telling of stories makes one hungry for the making of them, she says, her voice full of a playful warmth. The dough is ready. It's time to give it a soul. You move to the table and one woman retrieves a large earthenware bowl from a shelf. It is covered with a damp cloth. She places the bowl on the table between you and removes the cloth with a flourish. The air is instantly filled with a fresh wave of the most delicious spicy aroma. Inside the bowl is a large, smooth, perfectly risen ball of gingerbread dough. It is a deep, rich, soulful brown, the color of wet earth and dark honey, and its surface is smooth and elastic. She sprinkles a fine dusting of white flour onto the wooden tabletop, creating a small, pale circle. Then, with strong, practiced hands, she turns the dough out of the bowl. It lands on the floured surface with a soft, satisfying sigh. The dough is alive. You can see the slow, gentle springiness of it, a testament to the yeast and the time it has been allowed to rest and grow. Now, she says, her blue eyes twinkling, the work begins. She pushes a small lump of the dough across the table to you. It is cool and surprisingly heavy in your hands. You begin to mimic her movements, working the dough on the floured surface. The sensation is wonderful. The dough is smooth, pliable, and slightly sticky. As you knead and press it, the warmth of your hands begins to release its fragrance, and the air around you fills with the sharp, clean scent of ginger and the warm, woody perfume of cinnamon. It's a tactile, aromatic, and deeply satisfying process. This is not a chore. It is a form of play, of quiet creation. An artisan or a baker would understand the deep connection that forms between the maker and their materials. To work dough is to engage in a conversation with it. You learn its texture, its tolerance. You are not just imposing your will upon it. You are collaborating with it, guiding it towards its final form. It is a partnership. The old woman works with an effortless grace, her hands moving with the certainty of long practice. She flattens a piece of the dough and, using a small, sharp knife, she deftly cuts out the iconic shape of a small person, a round head, two outstretched arms, a torso, and two legs. It is simple, charming, and instantly recognizable. A gingerbread man. She slides it over to you and encourages you to do the same. Your first attempt is clumsy. The limbs are uneven, the head a bit lopsided. The old woman just smiles. He has character, she says gently. There is no judgment here, only encouragement. You try again, and this time, the shape is more familiar, more balanced. You are learning the feel of the dough, the way it yields to the pressure of your fingers. She then brings out a small tray. On it are several little bowls containing the tools for decoration. There are bowls of glossy, dark currants for eyes and buttons. There are slivers of candied orange peel for mouths, and a small bowl of simple white sugar racing for adding finer details. Everyone is different, she says as she presses the currants into the head of her gingerbread man, giving him a set of simple dark eyes. You must find out who they are. You take 2 currants and do the same. Suddenly, the flat shape on the table is no longer just a piece of dough. It has a face. You give it a small, smiling mouth made from a curved sliver of orange peel. You press 3 more currants down its chest, giving it a neat row of buttons on its coat. You have not just made a biscuit, you have created a character. A cultural anthropologist might note the ancient human impulse to anthropomorphize, to see human forms and faces in inanimate objects. From faces in the clouds to figures carved from wood, we have always sought to create companions and characters from the world around us. The gingerbread man is a part of this long tradition. He is a friendly, edible effigy, a symbol of festive cheer and simple, homespun magic. Queen Elizabeth I is often credited with popularizing gingerbread men, having them made to resemble dignitaries visiting her court, but the impulse is likely much, much older. You and the woman work in a comfortable, focused silence, each of you creating a small family of gingerbread people on the flowered tabletop. Each one is unique. Some are plump, some are thin, some are plump, some are thin. Some have arms raised as if in a cheerful wave, others have them resting at their sides. You are lost in the simple, creative pleasure of the task, the warmth of the fire at your back, the incredible scent of the dough, the quiet, satisfying feeling of making something with your own 2 hands. Soon, a small baking tray is filled with a silent, waiting army of gingerbread men. The woman takes the tray and slides it into the small, black of unbuilt into the side of the stone hearth. She closes the iron door with a soft clang. Now, she says, wiping her flowered hands on her apron, we wait, and we listen. They will tell us when they are ready. The task is done. The small, doughy souls have been given their form. Now, they will be transformed by the heat, their spicy perfume filling the cottage, their forms becoming crisp and golden. You sit back on your stool, a feeling of deep, simple accomplishment washing over you. You have taken part in the magic, added your own hands to the creation of this warm, sore, and wonderfully alive place. The last of the gingerbread men have been tucked away into the warm, dark belly of the oven. A new scent, the rich, sweet aroma of baking, begins to fill the cottage, layering itself upon the existing fragrances of spice and wood smoke. It is a scent of transformation, of dough becoming biscuit, of potential becoming reality. The old woman looks at you, and you can see a gentle tiredness in her sparkling blue eyes, a reflection of the comfortable weariness you feel in your own limbs. The journey through the snow, the warmth of the fire, the creative focus of making the gingerbread people, it has all led to this moment of deep earned repose. The day's work is done, she says softly, her voice a gentle murmur. The little ones are sleeping in their warm bed, and it is time for us to do the same. There is a place for you. She lights a small, simple candle from a taper ignited in the hearth fire. The new flame is small and brave, casting a soft, localized pool of light. She hands the candlestick to you. It is made of simple, blackened iron, its handle a small, sturdy loop. The stairs are just there, she says. gesturing with her head towards a dark corner of the room you hadn't paid much attention to before. You take the candle, its light flickering undancing, casting your own enlarged, moving shadow on the gingerbread walls. You walk towards the corner she indicated and see a narrow, steep set of wooden stairs leading upwards. They look ancient, each step worn into a smooth, shallow curve in the center by the passage of countless feet. "Good night," the old woman whispers from behind you. "Sleep well, the forest will wait." You turn and nod to her, a silent thank you for everything. She is already settling into a large, comfortable-looking armchair by the dying embers of the fire, pulling a thick patchwork quilt over her lap. You turn back to the stairs and begin to climb. The candlelight precedes you, illuminating the rough, wooden texture of the steps and the wall. The air grows warmer as you ascend, the heat from the hearth having risen to collect in the upper reaches of the cottage. You reach the top of the stairs and find yourself in a small, cozy attic room, tucked directly under the eaves of the roof. The room is simple, perfect, and profoundly peaceful. The ceiling slants slow on either side, following the pitch of the roof. You can see the massive, dark beams of the roof structure, their surfaces rough with age. The air up here is thick with the warm, comforting scent of old wood and the ever-present, sweet perfume of gingerbread and baking spices that has seeped into the very timbers of the house. There is only one object in the room, a bed. It is a simple, low wooden frame, but it is piled high with what looks like a cloud. It is a mattress stuffed with feathers, and on top of it lies a huge, impossibly soft-looking duvet, also filled with down. It is not covered with a sheet, but with a simple, clean linen case, the color of fresh cream. At the head of the bed are two plump, inviting pillows. You place your candlestick on a small, sturdy crate that serves as a bedside table. The single flickering flame casts a gentle, intimate light over the room, making the shadows in the corners deep and soft. You sit down on the edge of the bed. The mattress sinks beneath you with a soft, rustling sigh. It is every bit as soft as it looked. You feel yourself sinking into a deep, supportive cushion that seems to mold itself perfectly to you. It is a world away from the firm straw pallets that would have been common in cottages of this era. This is a bed of pure, unadulterated luxury and comfort. A historian of comfort might tell you that for most of human history, a bed like this was an unimaginable treasure. A good feather bed was a sign of significant wealth, a prized possession listed in wills and passed down through generations. To sleep on such a bed was to experience the pinnacle of physical comfort, a nightly respite from the hardness of the world. You swing your legs up onto the bed and pull the heavy, soft duvet over you. The feeling is instantaneous and absolute. It is a feeling of being completely and utterly enveloped, cushioned, and protected. The duvet is surprisingly light for its volume, but it settles around you, trapping your body heat and creating a perfect, warm nest. The term for this, for the incredible insulating power of down feathers, is loft. Branching structures of the feathers trap millions of microscopic pockets of air, creating a barrier that is almost impervious to the cold. You are being wrapped in a blanket of warm air. You lie back, your head sinking into the soft pillows. From this position, you can see a small circular window set high in the gable end of the attic. Through it, you can see the deep, dark blue of the evening sky, and the silent, gentle fall of the snow, each flake a tiny, fleeting speck against the darkness. The gentle, flickering light of the single candle, the profound softness of the bed, the comforting weight of the duvet, and the warm, spice-scented air all combine to create a powerful soporific effect. Your body feels heavy, boneless, and completely at peace. Your mind, which has been so full of the day's wonders, begins to quiet down, soothed by the overwhelming sense of safety and comfort. You are floating in a sea of softness in a small, warm room at the very top of a magical house, hidden deep in a silent, snowy forest. The journey is over for today. You have found the most perfect sanctuary. You take a deep, slow breath, smelling the gingerbread and the old wood, and you feel yourself drifting effortlessly into a deepened, peaceful sleep. You drift in a deepened, dreamless sleep, cocooned in the soft, warm darkness of the attic. There are no sounds, no disturbances, only the profound peace of absolute rest. Time seems to stretch and dissolve. You awaken slowly, gently, not to a sound or a light, but to a scent. It is the smell of freshly baked gingerbread, so rich and warm and impossibly delicious that it seems to have woven itself into the very fabric of your dreams. For a moment, you lie perfectly still, suspended in that pleasant, hazy state between sleep and wakefulness, simply savoring the aroma. It is the smell of happiness, of comfort, of a promise fulfilled. Slowly you open your eyes. The attic room is filled with a soft, gray morning light, filtering through the small, round window. The snow has stopped falling. The world outside is still and silent. The candle on the crate beside you has long since burned out. You feel completely, undoubtedly rested, as if you have slept for 100 years. Every muscle in your body is relaxed, every trace of weariness gone. You push back the impossibly soft duvet and swing your legs out of bed. The wooden floor is cool beneath your feet, a pleasant, grounding sensation after the cloud-like softness of the featherbed. You dress quietly in the still, peaceful air of the morning, pulling on your familiar woolen clothes. Your coat, which you had left on a peg, feels warm and dry, and your fingers instinctively find the neat, strong line of stitches on the sleeve, a small, physical reminder of the care you receive. You make your way down the steep, worn stairs. The main room of the cottage is quiet. The fire in the hearth has burned down to a bed of soft, glowing embers, which still give off a gentle, radiant warmth. The old woman is not in her armchair. The cottage is empty, but it doesn't feel abandoned. It feels peaceful, as if it is waiting. On the scrubbed wooden table in the center of the room, a small scene has been set for you. A single, earthenware mug identical to the one from last night is filled with what you know will be warm, sweet, chamomile-infused milk. Beside it lies a small plate, and on the plate rests one of the gingerbread men you helped to create last night. He is perfect, baked to a beautiful, even, golden brown. His form is now firm and crisp. His currant eyes seem to sparkle with a cheerful, edible life. The warmth from the nearby embers has kept him slightly warm to the touch, but there is something else. Beside the plate is a small, neat package. It is a collection of several more gingerbread men, stacked together and wrapped in a piece of clean, white cheesecloth. The bundle is tied securely with a simple piece of brown wine. It is a gift, a parting gift, sustenance for a journey, and a memory of this place to carry with you. You sit at the table and drink the warm milk. Its familiar, soothing taste, a gentle start to the day. Then, you pick up the single gingerbread man from the plate. You hesitate for a moment, admiring the simple, happy character you helped to bring to life. Then, you take a bite. The texture is perfect. It is crisp on the outside, but gives way to a slightly softer, chewy interior. The flavor explodes in your mouth, a complex, wonderful symphony of warm, spicy ginger, sweet cinnamon, dark molasses, and a hint of clove. It is the taste of the cottage, the taste of the old woman's kindness, all concentrated into this one perfect biscuit. It is the most delicious thing you have ever eaten. A food historian might call this a Lebkuchen, the traditional German form of gingerbread. Unlike the harder, biscuit-like forms, Lebkuchen has a softer, more cake-like texture and is renowned for its complex spice blend. It's a food deeply associated with Christmas markets and winter festivities, a taste of pure, seasonal joy. You finish the gingerbread man, savoring every last crumb. You know it is time to leave. This place, this magical sanctuary, was a stop on your journey, not its final destination. Its purpose was to offer rest, warmth, and nourishment, and it has done so more generously than you could have ever imagined. You stand and pick up the small cloth-wrapped parcel of gingerbread man. It is surprisingly heavy, a dense, solid packet of flavor and energy. The scent of spice emanates from it, a portable reminder of the pantry. You tuck it carefully into the deep inner pocket of your coat. It feels like you are carrying a small, warm secret. You look around the small, perfect room one last time. You see the hearth with its glowing embers, the cinnamon stick rafters, the window with its delicate icing frost, the empty armchair with its patchwork quilt. You see the ghosts of the past day, the shared stories, the mending of the coat, the making of the little dough people. You are filled with a profound sense of gratitude. You walk to the door, the one with the toffee knob and the licorice frame. You place your hand on the knob and pull the door open, its wings inward with that same impossible silence. The world that greets you is dazzling. The snow has stopped, the clouds have parted, and the clearing is bathed in the brilliant, crisp light of a winter morning. The sun, though low in the sky, is bright and clear, and it makes the fresh, untouched snow sparkle with a million points of light. The air that flows in is sharp, cold, and clean. It feels invigorating. You step across the threshold from the warm, spice-scented world of the cottage back into the bright, cold world of forest. You do not look back. Some places are too magical to be looked at upon departure. They are best kept as perfect, complete memories. You have your gift, your mended coat, and the warmth of the fire still lingering in your bones. You are ready for the journey home. You step away from the gingerbread cottage, leaving the magical clearing behind you. The brilliant morning sun on the fresh snow is almost blinding after the warm amber-lit dimmings of the interior. You pull your hood up, your eyes adjusting to the bright, clean world. The path that led you here yesterday is now completely buried under a thick, new blanket of untouched snow. There is no trail to follow back, but you do not feel lost. Instead of trying to retrace your steps, you feel an instinct to follow a new guide. To your right, you hear a faint, almost imperceptible sound, muffled by the snow. It is the sound of moving water. You turn and walk towards it, your boots making the first new tracks in this pristine world, a satisfying, deep crunch with every step. You push through a stand of young birch trees, their slender, white trunks looking stark and beautiful against the deep blue of the sky. As you emerge on the other side, you see the source of the sound. It is a small stream, a winding ribbon of black water flowing through the white landscape. The stream has not completely frozen. In the center, where the current is strongest, the water runs clear and dark. But along the edges, the cold has worked its patient magic. Intricate, delicate shells of ice have formed, reaching out from the banks like miniature, crystalline peninsulas. The surface of this ice is not smooth, but is covered in beautiful, feathery patterns of frost, like the fossilized imprints of fern. Beneath these clear ice shelves, you can see the water flowing, its movement made slow and syrupy by the intense cold. It is like looking through a window into the stream's secret winter life. You can see the smooth, gray stones of the streamlet and the occasional, dark flash of a tiny fish darting in the deeper pools. The sound the stream makes is unique to this semi-frozen state. It is not the cheerful, summery gurgle of a free-flowing brook. It is a lower, more subdued sound, a quiet, muffled chugging and gurgling as the water moves beneath the ice. Every so often, you hear a soft, musical tinkle as a small piece of ice breaks free and is carried away by the current. It is a gentle, peaceful, and constant sound, the quiet heartbeat of the winter forest. You decide that this stream will be your guide. A stream, you reason, must eventually lead to a larger river or to a valley or to a place where people live. It is a natural path, a line of logic drawn through the landscape. You turn and begin to walk along its bank, keeping the quiet, gurgling music of the water to your right. The journey is a feast for the senses. The air is so cold and clean that each breath feels sharp and invigorating. The sun, climbing higher in the sky, casts long, dramatic, blue shadows across the snow. The silence of the forest is broken only by the crunch of your own footsteps and the gentle, constant murmur of the water. A naturalist would observe that a stream like this is a lifeline for the forest in winter. It provides a source of water for the animals when other sources are frozen solid. As you walk, you see evidence of this. You spot the delicate, cloven tracks of a deer that has come down to the edge to drink. A little further on, a flurry of smaller tracks shows where a squirrel has scurried down from a tree. The stream is a gathering place, a quiet center of activity in the sleeping woods. You pause for a moment and crouch down at the water's edge. You dip your gloved finger into the flowing current. The cold is shocking and intense, biting chill that is far more potent than the cold of the air. It is a reminder of the raw, powerful forces of nature that are at play here. This water is just a few fractions of a degree above freezing, a liquid on the very edge of becoming a solid. A philosopher might see a metaphor in the stream. It is constant, ever-changing, always moving forward. It follows the path of least resistance, yet over time, it can carve its way through solid rock. It is both gentle and powerful. It is a symbol of persistence, of the slow, steady, inexorable passage of time. To follow it is to align yourself with this natural, forward momentum. You continue your walk, feeling a sense of quiet purpose. You are not wandering now, you are traveling. The sun on your back is pleasantly warm, a gentle counterpoint to the crisp air. In your pocket, you can feel the solid, reassuring weight of the gingerbread men, a small, secret store of warmth and energy. The landscape slowly changes as you follow the stream's winding course. The forest becomes more open with larger, more ancient trees. The stream bed widens, the flow of water growing deeper and stronger. You feel a sense of progress, of moving from the deep, secret heart of the woods back towards the more familiar edges. You are alone, but you do not feel lonely. The stream is your companion, its quiet, liquid voice a constant, reassuring presence. The sun is a friendly guide on your shoulder. The forest is a silent, beautiful host. You are a part of this world, moving through it in peace, following the patient, liquid logic of the water. You have been following the winding path of the half-frozen stream for what feels like a comfortable and peaceful eternity. The sun, your silent companion, has climbed higher in the sky, its journey across the brilliant blue arc marking the gentle passage of the morning. Its light has changed, losing the pale, golden quality of the early hours and becoming a brighter, more brilliant silver white. You stop for a moment, turning your face fully towards it, closing your eyes. The sunlight on your eyelids is no longer the gentle, tentative warmth you felt yesterday. It is a more confident, more definite presence. It feels familiar, like the face of an old friend you haven't seen in a while. It carries with it a sense of clarity, of benevolent observation. It is the sun of the open sky, not the filtered, mysterious light of the deep woods. This sunlight feels like a guide. In the northern hemisphere in winter, the sun's path arcs slow across the southern sky. By keeping it on your left as you walk, you know you are generally heading east. The direction you instinctively feel leads back towards home. It's a simple, ancient form of navigation, a way of reading the land and the sky that our ancestors would have known as intimately as the back of their own hands. Before compasses, the sun and the stars were the only maps that mattered. You open your eyes and look at the world bathed in this bright, clear light. The snow, which in the forest shade held tones of blue and gray, is now a brilliant, almost uniform white, so bright it almost hurts to look at. The shadows of the trees are now shorter, sharper, and a deeper, more definite black. The world seems to have come into sharper focus. The soft, dreamy quality of the deep forest giving way to a more defined and clear-edged reality. You continue your walk along the stream, but you are now more aware of the sun, more attuned to its presence. It feels like a confirmation that you are on the right path. It is a familiar landmark in a landscape that has been, until now, completely new and unknown. A scientist would explain the physics of this light. The reason the sky is blue and the sun appears yellow or white is due to a phenomenon called Rayleigh scattering. The shorter, blue wavelengths of light are scattered more effectively by the molecules in the atmosphere than the longer, red wavelengths. When the sun is high overhead, most of the direct light gets through without being scattered, so the sun appears white and bright. The light has to pass through more of the atmosphere, scattering away the blues and leaving the beautiful oranges and reds. What you are experiencing is the simple, beautiful physics of a clear, mid-morning winter sky. You find a fallen log, bathed in direct sunlight and cleared of snow. It's the perfect place to rest for a moment. You sit down, the rough bark solid beneath you, and you let the sun warm your back. You reach into your coat pocket and retrieve the cloth-wrapped bundle of gingerbread men. You untie the twine and fold back the cheesecloth. The spicy, sweet scent rises up to meet you, a warm, delicious memory of the cottage. You take one of the gingerbread men and eat it slowly, savoring the crisp texture and the rich, complex flavor. The biscuit, combined with the warmth of the sun on your back, feels like you are being nourished from the inside and the out. It is a moment of simple, profound contentment. You are sitting in the middle of a vast, silent, beautiful wilderness, yet you feel completely provided for. As you sit there, you notice the way the sunlight interacts with the ice on the stream. It penetrates the clear shelves of ice, refracting and reflecting, creating dazzling, rainbow-like glints of color. A small, frozen waterfall at a bend in the stream has become a magnificent, glittering sculpture, a cascade of captured light. The sun is not just illuminating the world, it is playing with it, transforming it, revealing hidden layers of. A quiet thinker might contemplate the sun's role as a symbol of truth and clarity. In many cultures and philosophies, light is equated with knowledge, understanding, and consciousness, while darkness represents ignorance or confusion. The journey out of the deep, shadowed woods, and into this bright, open, sunlit landscape feels like a journey from a beautiful, mysterious dream into a state of clear, peaceful wake of signals. The dream was wonderful, a necessary and restorative retreat. The clarity of the day feels equally welcome, equally right. You finish the gingerbread man, carefully wrap the remaining ones, and place them back in your pocket. You stand up feeling renewed, your energy restored. The sun feels like a benevolent hand on your shoulder, gently guiding you forward. You know where you are going now, not in a precise, navigational sense, but in a deeper, more intuitive one. You are following the stream, and you are following the stream, and you are following the logic of the landscape and the light, and you know, with a quiet certainty, that they are leading you home. You walk on, the bright sun your companion and the murmuring stream your guide. The rhythm of your journey has become a comfortable and meditative one. The crunch of your boots in the snow, the gentle gurgle of the water, the steady, pleasant warmth of the sun on your back. You feel a sense of peaceful determination, the quiet confidence of a traveler who knows they are on the right course. Gradually, you begin to notice a subtle but definite change in the character of the forest around you. The trees, which had been a mix of ancient pines and hardwoods, are becoming sparser. The dense, close-knit feeling of the deep woods is giving way to a more open, spacious landscape. The gaps between the trees are wider, and through them you can see longer and longer vistas of the snow-covered ground. Then you see it. Straight ahead, at what feels like a great distance, the solid wall of the forest seems to dissolve. It's not an abrupt end, but a soft, gradual thinning. You can see the trunks of the last few trees standing as solitary sentinels, and beyond them, an uninterrupted expanse of brilliant, luminous white, crowned by the vast, open blue of the sky. It is the forest edge. This phenomenon, this glowing quality, is a beautiful trick of the light. The wide, open space beyond the trees is reflecting the full, unobstructed brightness of the sun. This intense light bounces back into the shaded edge of the forest where you are, backlighting the trees and creating a soft, ethereal halo, aura around the edges of the forest. It's a luminous threshold, a curtain of light that separates the world of the woods from the world of the open field. The sight fills you with a new sense of anticipation, a gentle excitement that quickens your step. The stream you have been following so faithfully now curves away to the right, heading deeper into another stretch of woods. Its job is done. It has led you this far. You leave its quiet, liquid company with a silent nod of thanks and walk straight ahead towards the light. As you get closer, the details of the forest edge become clearer. You can see the tangled, intricate thickets of blackberry bushes that often grow in these transitional zones, their thorny, leafless canes creating a dark, chaotic scribble against the bright snow. You can see the tall, dry stalks of last summer's wildflowers, Teasel and Queen Anne's lace, standing stiff and proud, their skeletal forms dusted with snow, like delicate, ghostly sculpture. This transitional zone between forest and field is known in ecology as an ecotone. It's a place of high biodiversity where species from both habitats meet and mingle. It is a rich and vibrant borderland. For you, it is a borderland in another sense. It is the boundary between the magical, introspective world of your journey and the familiar, domestic world that you know is waiting for you. You push through the last few stands of trees, ducking under a low-hanging, snow-laden pine bough, and then you are there. You step out of the shadow of the last tree and into the full, glorious, unobstructed light of the open field. The change is instantaneous and breathtaking. the world expands. After the enclosed, intimate spaces of the forest, the sheer scale of the open sky and the vast, rolling expanse of the snow-covered field feels immense, almost overwhelming. Your eyes, accustomed to the vertical lines of the trees, are now drawn to the long, low, gentle curve of the horizon. You stop and take a deep, clean breath of the open air. It feels different here, lighter somehow, and carrying the faint, clean scent of the sun on the snow. The silence is different too. It is not the muffled, close silence of the woods, but a vast, expansive quiet that is filled with the sheer scale of the space around you. A landscape painter would call this a study in simplicity. The composition is elemental, the vast, unbroken white of the ground and the vast, unbroken blue of the sky, meeting at a single, clean line. It is a landscape of pure, minimalist beauty, powerful in its simplicity. You turn and look back at the forest you have just emerged from. From this perspective, it is a solid, dark wall of green and black, its edges colored line against the white field. It looks mysterious and deep, a world unto itself. It is hard to believe that just a few moments ago, you were inside it, a part of its shadowed, intimate world. It has given you shelter, guidance, and now it has released you, delivering you safely back into the light. A philosopher might ponder the importance of edges and boundaries. We need the deep, introspective spaces to rest and dream, but we also need the wide, open spaces to see our way forward. The journey through the forest was a journey inward. Now, standing on its edge, you are ready to look outward again. The forest was a parenthetical phrase in your life, a special, protected time out of time. Now you are ready to return to the main sentence. You feel a sense of accomplishment, but it is a quiet, peaceful one. It is not the triumphant feeling of a conqueror, but the gentle, grateful feeling of a traveler who has been brought safely to the end of a beautiful and unexpected journey. You stand there for a long moment on the luminous threshold between the woods and the world, feeling the sun on your face, the vastness of the sky above you, and the solid, snowy ground beneath your feet. The path home is clear now. You stand for a long moment at the edge of the vast, sunlit field, allowing your senses to adjust to the sheer openness of the space. The journey through the forest, with its enclosed paths and magical encounters, now feels like a beautiful, vivid dream from which you have just awakened. Before you lies a familiar landscape of rolling hills and gentle slopes, all softened and simplified by the thick blanket of snow. This is the world you know. You begin to walk, your steps feeling slow and deliberate in the immense space. There is no path here, but one is not needed. You can see for miles. Your gaze sweeps across the horizon, scanning the familiar contours of the land. You are looking for a landmark, a sign. The sun is warm on your right shoulder now, indicating you are heading north, back towards the small pocket of civilization where your journey began. The silence of the open field is vast and serene, broken only by the rhythmic crunch of your own boots and the faint, high-pitched cheep of a snow bunting somewhere in the distance. You crest a small hill, and your breath catches in your throat. There in the distance, nestled in a shallow valley perhaps a mile away, you see it. It is a sight so simple, so humble, yet it fills you with a feeling of overwhelming relief and a deep, quiet joy. It is a thin, delicate, almost imperceptible column of gray smoke, rising straight up into the cold, still air. It is the smoke from a chimney, your chimney. This single, fragile plume of smoke is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen. It is a signal, a beacon of life in the silent, white landscape. Its peaks of a fire being tended, of a hearth that is warm, of a home that is waiting. Unlike the magical, amber light of the gingerbread cottage, which spoke of wonder and enchantment, this simple, gray smoke speaks of reality, of comfort, of belonging. It is the anchor to your world. You stand and watch it for a long moment, this slender thread connecting the earth to the sky. Its vertical line is perfectly straight, a testament to the absolute stillness of the air. A slight breeze would tear it apart, but in this perfect, calm moment, it holds its form, a delicate, unwavering signal. A historian of domestic life would see this single plume of smoke as the very symbol of human settlement. For millennia, a fire was the heart of any dwelling. The smoke it produced was an unavoidable byproduct, but also a clear and visible sign to any traveler or neighbor that here was a place of human life, a pocket of warmth and society in the vast wilderness. To see smoke on the horizon was to know you were not alone. As you begin to walk towards it, your pace is now quicker, more purposeful. The distant smoke is a focal point, a destination. With every step, it grows a little thicker, a little more defined. Soon, you can make out the dark shape of the cottage roof it is rising from, a familiar, comforting silhouette against the white snow of the valley. A quiet thinker might reflect on the meaning of home. Is it a physical structure of wood and stone? Or is it a feeling, a state of being? The gingerbread house was a kind of home, a temporary, magical one that offered rest and succor. But this, the place that the smoke is rising from, is different. It is a home built not of fantasy, but of memory, of familiarity, of a shared life. It is the place where you belong, the center of your own small universe. The smoke is not just rising from a chimney, it is rising from the very heart of your life. The journey from the edge of the forest to the cottage is a journey of transition. You are moving from the extraordinary back to the ordinary, but the ordinary now seems filled with a new and profound beauty. You notice the simple, elegant curve of a snowdrift against a stone wall. You admire the long, blue shadows that the afternoon sun casts across the fields. The world has not changed, but your perception of it has. The journey through the forest has given you new eyes with which to see the beauty of the familiar. You are getting closer now. You can see the dark, comforting shape of the woodpile, the familiar line of the fence. The smoke is a thick, confident column now. It's gentle, woody scent just beginning to reach you on the still air. It is the smell of your own hearth, a scent as familiar and comforting as your own name. You have been on a grand adventure, a journey into a world of magic and wonder. You have walked through silent, snowy woods, followed mysterious paths, and been sheltered in a house made of dreams. You have been warmed, fed, and cared for by a kindness as real as it was enchanting. And now that journey is ending, not with the grand finale, but with the simple, perfect, and profoundly beautiful sight of smoke rising from your own chimney. The circle is almost complete. The last 100 yards of your journey are filled with a quiet, powerful sense of arrival. Every detail of the landscape is now intimately familiar. The particular lean of the old fence post by the gate, the way the snow has drifted up against the north wall of the cottage, the dark, solid shape of the chopping block near the woodpile, its surface dusted with a fresh layer of white. These are the small, unremarked upon details that constitute the geography of home. You reach the small wooden gate, its familiar creak as you swing it open, a sound of pure, simple welcome. You walk up the short path to the door, the same path you set out on what feels like a lifetime ago. The footprints you left then are long gone, buried under a fresh, smooth blanket of snow. You make a new set of tracks, a clear, straight line from the gate to the threshold. A story of a journey completed, a return. You place your hand on the cold iron latch of your own door. It feels solid, real, and deeply familiar in your palm. You lift the latch, and the door swings open into the warm, shadowed interior of your own home. You step inside and close the door behind you, shutting out the bright, cold world. For a moment, you just stand there in the entryway, allowing your senses to reacquaint themselves with the space. The air inside is warm, filled with the beloved, everyday scent of your own life. The faint, lingering smell of wood smoke from the hearth, the dry, dusty fragrance of the herbs hanging from the rafters, the simple, clean scent of the wooden floors and woolen blankets. It is a perfume of profound comfort, the scent of your own existence. The room is filled with a soft, gentle light. The fire in the hearth has been built up, and it is burning with a low, steady, contented flame. It is not the wild, magical fire of the gingerbread cottage, but a quiet, dependable, domestic fire. It is your fire. Its warm, orange light pushes back the shadows and casts a familiar, gentle glow on the simple furniture and the wooden walls. Someone is here. Gretel, your sister, is sitting on the stool by the fire, her head bent over a piece of mending, her needle moving with a slow, rhythmic grace. She looks up as you enter, and a slow, warm smile spreads across her face. It is a smile of pure relief and deep, uncomplicated love. "You're back," she says, her voice soft. It is not an accusation or a question, but a simple, heartfelt statement of fact. "I'm back," you reply, and your own voice sounds strange to you after a long day of silence. There are no frantic questions about where you have been. There is no need for grand stories or explanations. The shared, quiet understanding between you is enough. She can see in your eyes, in the peaceful set of your shoulders, that you have been somewhere safe, somewhere good. The details can wait. All that matters is that you have returned. You walk to the hearth and hold your hands out to the familiar warmth of your own fire. It feels different from the baker's oven, less intense perhaps, but it warms you with a comfort that is deeper than just heat. It is the warmth of belonging. You shrug off your coat and hang it on its peg. As you do, you feel the weight of the small cloth-wrapped parcel in your pocket. You pull it out. The scent of ginger and spice, a faint, exotic ghost from another world, mingles for a moment with the familiar sense of your own home. You walk to the table and untie the twine, unfolding the cheeselcloth. You lay the small family of gingerbread men on the wooden surface. They look even more magical here, in this simple, rustic setting. Little emissaries from a dream. Gretel comes to the table, her eyes wide with wonder. "What are these?" she whispers, her fingers gently tracing the outline of one of the figures. "A gift, you say, from a friend in the woods." You push one of the gingerbread men towards her. She picks it up, marveling at its perfect form, and takes a small, hesitant bite. Her eyes close for a moment as she savors the taste. A slow smile of pure delight spreads across her face. A quiet philosopher might say that the end of a journey is not just about returning to a place, but about bringing something back with you. Not just a physical object, but a change within yourself. You have brought back a story, a memory of kindness, and a renewed appreciation for the simple, profound beauty of your own life. The journey has not just taken you away, it has brought you back more fully to yourself. You sit at the table with your sister in the warm, firelit gloom of your own cottage. You share the gingerbread, and in the comfortable silence, you begin slowly to tell her the story of your journey. The story of the snow, the path, the light, the house, and the kind old woman. You are home, warm, safe, and profoundly, deeply at peace. The journey is complete. Our story has come to its gentle close. Your long walk through the winter forest is over. You have returned from the world of dreams and magic to the simple, profound comfort of home. The path ahead of you now is a soft and easy one. It leads from the fireside chair, across the quiet floor of your own room, to a warm and waiting bed. Your eyelids feel heavy now, heavy with the memory of falling snow and the soft glow of the hearth. The weight of a warm, woolen blanket settles over you, a feeling as comforting and safe as the mended coat on your shoulders. The last, lingering taste of gingerbread and spice is a sweet, gentle lullaby, bidding you to let go. The quiet of your room is like the quiet of the forest under a fresh blanket of snow, deep, peaceful, and absolute. There are no more paths to follow, no more journeys to take. There is only the gentle, rhythmic rise and fall of your own breathing, a quiet anchor in a sea of stillness. Let the darkness be a soft, velvet curtain closing on a day filled with quiet wonder. Let the silence be a gift. Surrender to the warmth, to the comfort, to the deep, deep peace of this moment. It is time to rest. It is time to sleep. Good night. The end of the article. Good night.